What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here live from King's Chamber. You ever wondered what that experience is when you come here? Let me tell you something. Miss Kim here has shown me the royal treatment. So when you come down to King's Chamber, let them know Rebels with a Cause and the Italian Stallion sent you. You will not regret it. Takes care of you, waxes, beard trims. I just got my hair cut, about to get it washed right now. This is the royal treatment, fellas. Manicures, pedicures, you let them know Rebels with a Cause sent you. She will make sure that you are treated like the king that you deserve here at King's Chamber. Let them know the Italian Stallion sent you. Stallion out, baby. Go Canes.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. You know what time it is, baby. It's 9:30 on Wednesday night. It's male therapy hour. And you know what? I shouldn't say that because we got a lot of female friends and fans and, groupies of the show, if you want to call it that. We all brothers and sisters here at the RWAC family. But remember, that cause don't stop when that clock hits zero. Gonna have another great show tonight. Got the panel ready to go. The fam is in the house. Let me just tell you this, guys. If you weren't impressed with this last weekend of football, I don't know what's there left for you, man, because this weekend, it's serious business time. You got the games on Saturday, divisional playoffs. You've got Bills, you've got Broncos, you've got 49ers taking on the Rams. The Seahawks. You got the Rams and the Bears going at it Sunday night. You've got the Patriots against the Texans. And then Monday Night Football is going to be for the national championship in Miami, the most expensive national championship game between the unblemished, undefeated, 8.5-point favorite Indiana Hoosiers and the little old school from Coral Gables down the street, the Miami Hurricanes, that nobody's given a chance to, I guess, right now. But, hey, I got 100 on it on the Canes, and if that happens, there's going to be some fun going on there. But that being said, not only will I win money, but I'll have a national championship. 6-26 for the late, great Sean Taylor. Go Canes. I believe, but that's why we play the game. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a great freaking matchup. If you don't love football, guys, then, don't even bother watching. But if you do love football, soak it in, because a month from now, it's going to be done when the Super Bowl happens. I just want you all to think about that. And we have to wait all those months. So hopefully you like basketball. Hopefully you like other sports. But that being said, that's what's going on there. First and foremost, I also want to thank all of you. We got 20 new subscribers Sunday night during Stallion Speaks. Had over 644 views that show. I hope that you continue to support this channel. We got these shows about to debut that we're so excited about, that we hope that you give all of the guys that are on this panel a chance to entertain you the way that I do Sunday nights. And I can't thank you for all the love and support from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Keep punching that like button, sharing our cause. Remember, smash it, share us, have others join that cause, because that cause don't stop when that clock hits zero. Also, got to also just say that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of any other entities. These are solely the RWAC family's views, including this panel's views. Also, this is not the show that you come on. That's More Stallion Speaks. Of course, you might have that opportunity on the other platforms when those shows get taken off. But remember, we will get the chat box hopping. Anything you guys want to talk about, because this is much your show as it is ours. Of course, we are going to stick to the main topics of what's dominating right now, sports, and that is the end of football to crown both a national champion and a Super Bowl champion. And guess what we've learned? We will have a new Super Bowl champion with the Eagles being knocked out by the 49ers. Sorry, Michael Lynn. Love you to death. They need to fire that offensive coordinator. I don't know how you screwed that up with all those guys. So remember, this is the PG show, not the Rated R show. But that being said, just come on that chat box and we'll make sure that we get your comments up there, as well as any questions you may have and things you want to talk about. Also, got to give some quick love. You saw that ad, Miss Kim Castle. She always takes care of me over there at King's Chamber. You get the royal treatment there, fellas. Let them know that Rebels with a Cause sent you. Hopefully she'll get you a little discount. I know she will. She's a great lady, and she always makes sure her customers get the royal treatment and make you feel like the king you deserve. Also, our guy Alex Thatcher over there, it's getting cold outside, even colder. So what better way to get through the cold by the fire by having some coffee from Knoxville Coffee Company there in the heart of Marble City, right there off of Sutherland Avenue. Let them know Rebels with a Cause sent you. Support a fellow rebel there. Also, Razor Shop Barbershop. You looking for the more traditional thing? Let them know Two Pair Tate and Stallion sent you. Ask for Josh Fink or Corey. They'll get you taken care of. Make sure that you let them know that we always make sure that we send them their business that way. And also, speaking of our boy Two Pair Tate, follow 332 Studios, the Big Fact Sports Network. He's going to come on. He's still doing a little bit of announcing tonight for his obligations with Pellissippi State. But man, I'll tell you one thing: he's the hardest working guy, and I can't wait to see what he has to say about his things. He's been on Indiana all year long, so I expect him to pick them when he comes on to make his predictions. But that being said, guys, let's introduce you everybody to the panel. You know a lot of these favorites, but they are here to entertain you. They know their shit. That's why they're on this show. But that being said, first and foremost, got to talk about a day one guy, our behind the scenes guy that transitioned to our on air personality on episode 18. Been with us ever since on the platform when he's not been able to work long hours, and hell, even when he has worked long hours, he's come on. But he's our residence coach, soon to have that show debut coming up, Coach's Corner. He's our guy. Here comes the money, the one, the only. Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee is in the house. What is up, baby? How you doing?
What's up, man? It's glad to be here, Ray. Talk sports tonight. It's been an interesting week in sports.
Yes, it has. I can't wait to see who everybody's they stink is. I just hope nobody takes mine, but we'll get to that when we get there, brother. Next, our next panelist, you know him as another day one supporter, and let me just tell you this: I'm just so glad that this guy is with us. He's healthy, he's happy. I mean, what better way to start this year, despite everything he's been through the last couple of years and about to debut his show? We're still coming up with a title. I have one that I'm going to have to run by him. Ultimately, it's his show to make that decision, but we have a awesome platform planned for you, as well as the topics he wants to talk about, and I hope that you give him the opportunity to entertain you the way that he entertains all of us every week. You know him as the guy that was always there protecting everybody when the big game was going on here in Knoxville, but let's bring him on and give him the love he deserves. The one, the only, big game Kerry Reeves in the house!
Oh, how's everybody doing tonight, man? We've had an interesting week since the last time we spoke. Things have been really interesting. Yes. Can't wait to get into it. It's male therapy hour. That's what it is. And I'm here with my boys. There's nothing better than this. Nothing better than this.
It's always great when the family can get together. And me tell you this, last but not least, down in the heart of Houston, Texas. But don't get it wrong. He's got that South Florida blood running through him, and he's a Cajun through and through. He is the one, hard as granite and got a tongue like anything I've ever seen. He was given the business on Gary Furman's show last night. The one, the only, Rocky in the building!
Gentlemen, how are we doing this evening?
What's up, fella? What's up, Rock?
What's going on, fellas?
Doing good, Rock.
Sports tonight. Ready to go.
Well, guys, let's see this. Let's see here. We got chat box. Eric Carroll, what is up, brother? How you doing? Obviously, Larry Frank. Tomlin is gone. Amen. It's a rain and hallelujah.
Omar Epps just left the building.
I'm gonna change the words. Tomlin's gone. Hallelujah. Tomlin's gone. Amen.
Larry Frank's celebrating since they made the announcement.
Yep. Yeah, and Rocky already took care of it on the chat. Now you can go cheer for your team again. So, right. Hey, but let me tell you this. Me and Larry were talking about that off camera. The thing is that a lot of people sometimes say that we're like pessimistic when it comes to our teams. I don't call it that, guys. You know what I call that? I say that we know the damn tendencies of our teams, and he had been calling this since week 6. And when he would come on every so often, and it played out exactly the hell how it happened, honestly. And we just know our teams of what they are capable of and when they screw up the bet, simple as that. So, yeah. Also, shouts out to Verizon for the lack of scam calls today. Yeah, I'm going to tell you this, man. Today at work, I guess I'm the only one that doesn't have Verizon.
I don't have Verizon.
I have T-Mobile.
Yeah.
I still get a ton of scam
I have AT&T.
calls.
But
Well,
yeah,
I
but
didn't lose anything today.
You didn't lose anything,
You didn't
Shane?
lose anything?
No, and I've
That's
got Verizon.
good.
I'll be done.
it was basically a block that everybody was looking at, by the way.
Oh,
Nobody
wow.
like had anything at my job, and it was like, oh, yeah, I felt bad for him. I really did, but I was like, well, I got service.
Well,
Everything's going right with me. So
I didn't
yeah.
upgrade. I didn't update my phone yet, and there's a new update on the iPhone. So
I just updated mine as of 2 hours ago.
Yeah, everybody.
I was out last night. It's like, oh, you should update your phone, and I waited, and maybe I lucked out on that part. I don't know.
Yeah. My therapy was Tomlin getting canned. Oh, man.
Oh my gosh! So, well, you know what? I guess we won't. Larry Tomlin will get a Christmas card this year from Larry. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah.
Now what? But what team is if he coaches again? What team's going to trade for him?
That's why I think he sits out a year because he has 1 year left on a contract. Once this year's up,
I thought he had
he's
2
done.
years left.
He's got one. They said he only has one.
I hate to be mean when I think of Tomlin on air or whatever. It's like how Family Guy makes fun of Al Roker and it goes, "Hey Ollie, what's the weather going to be like? It's gonna rain." Like if they ask Tomlin, what do you think about this game? They're going to lose.
He's going to be great on TV. Whoever gets him, he's got every network already wanting him. He's going to be terrific on TV.
I can make our compadre so angry right now, Stallion. Technically, he resigned. He wasn't fired.
That is
he
true.
resigned.
He resigned.
Stepped down.
Yep, he did resign. He stepped down because the Rooneys don't fire people.
No, they don't.
When you've
They're
had
as
3
bad as the
coaches in the
Browns.
last
They've only had 3
years.
coaches since 1969. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we could get him and Jim Boeheim to call a game together? Because I actually just watched Jim Boeheim call that Georgia Tech pit atrocity I had to watch on ACC Network, and I don't know. I just laughed at it, to be honest with you.
Here's a scary thought: he goes to work for Fox, and him and Terry Bradshaw are on the pregame show, and Terry Bradshaw's probably been more critical than anybody else of Mike Tomlin. Could you imagine that pregame show?
Well, I honestly technically prefer the Fox guys for my Sunday coverage with Howie and Jimmy and all them, and and Gronk is funny on there too.
Gronk's funny as all outdoors.
Yeah, he's awesome. What's up, Anthony? How you doing? Good to have you on.
A train.
Oh man.
Well, guys, let's get it started, okay? So, we had the results down there. Of course, we talked about it on Stallion Speaks a little bit, but I'd like to know your all's thoughts, Coach, and Big Game, because you weren't on that show. But, obviously, the games happened, and obviously the national title game will be Miami versus Indiana, which I think everybody here predicted. I think, Shane, you took Ole Miss and let me tell you something, you were looking right there. I mean, the football gods and everything that was going wrong in that little curse.
That was the best game we had all playoffs.
It was. Yeah. I'd say it was better than the Ohio State Miami game, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, I thought the Ole Miss Miami game was the best played game out of all the games since the quarterfinals. I really do.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was just one of those things. I don't know why the game went that way. I mean, obviously Miami was battling a little bit of a flu bug, but Rocky and myself and even Larry gave credit where credit was due to Ole Miss. I mean, they fought.
Oh, hell yeah.
They went through, and you know what? That's the character of a team, and credit to Golding as well for having his guys ready as he could. But let's just face facts. Miami bullied that game. I mean, they had what Rocky 3 times as many plays as Ole Miss, but Ole Miss made the plays count when they had the ball. And Miami just left some drives out there.
I believe Miami had 88 plays. I believe they had 88 plays.
Yeah, we dominated time of possession. We dominated a line of scrimmage. We dominated the offensive, possession time. But at the same time, like you said, Stallion, Ole Miss made them count. It wasn't every time that we did. That was the big difference and why it was close at the end.
Yeah. I think the other thing, too, that I didn't even get to touch on Stallion Speaks, because I think there was so much excitement in looking ahead to the Indiana game. But the truth of the matter is, one of the most key plays in that game happened to be the busted run by Lacey, and he pulls a hamstring
that was
on
huge.
that. And if he doesn't get hurt on that, that changes the complexity a little bit of how the offense runs, because they completely did not have a run game until the fourth quarter, to be honest with you. I mean, even Chambliss didn't really take down the ball and run with it. And realistically, whether there were holds that were called or not called, Miami just was not getting that pressure. And Chambliss, man, what a release. 2.3 seconds each time he threw the ball. Mendoza, it's going to be 3.0 to 3.2. And there's a lot to be said about that tenth of a second, because that's Julian Sayans type of a release. And as we know, I don't even think Indiana's offensive line is as good as Ohio State's line was, and you saw what Miami's defense did against that. What's your guys' thoughts as I kind of transition from how the Ole Miss game went and Chambliss and what Miami's kind of going to be facing as they take on the Heisman Trophy winner Mendoza in his return to Miami?
Go ahead, Shane. Or argue again.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah, go ahead, Shane. So,
I think for me, the key to the game is going to be Miami's line, the size difference. But then when you look at their size, but then you look at the quickness that you'll get with the smaller size of Indiana, it's going to be in the trenches. But I like Miami's defense, and they've been improving, and they've got to where they are because of it. It's going to be shutting down Mendoza, and that's going to be hard to do. But I got faith in Miami. I really want to see Miami pull this out.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm really thankful for guys like you all supporting Miami, even though you all aren't Miami fans. Michael Lynn, I mean, everybody has just messaged me.
I just think it's better for football. I think it's better for football in general.
Yeah.
You want the traditional names. Like, no, we don't look at Indiana as a football school, but when they get all that money coming in and hitting the transfer portal like they are. But so is Miami. Miami's got a bunch of interested. So,
well, I'll tell you what. We have a huge fan base now for Indiana. You know who they are? They're the former Florida Gator fans or whatever, because they couldn't name you one player on Indiana other than Mendoza, but apparently they're supposed to kick Miami's ass.
It's amazing how when you get to this point of season, how these fan bases kind of flow to one another.
I saw a meme. I saw a meme that said the rest of the country, there was like they cut off Okeechobee down to Florida being Miami, and the rest of the country rooting for Indiana on a meme or whatever. I said, well, that's fine. Us against the world. That's okay. We're used to it. So, but Kerry, what were your thoughts in that Ole Miss Miami game? What stood out to you? I mean, do you want to talk about Carson Beck's performance? I mean, here this guy has been ridiculed. He really wasn't needed those first two games, but this was a game he needed to step up, and ultimately he was just iced down those last two drives. I mean, leading them down the charge to win. I mean, honestly,
I just think that Carson Beck has gained the most from this whole run. If anybody has gained the most from this whole run, it's been Carson Beck. His performance through this whole playoff has been absolutely fantastic. He hasn't done the spectacular things, but he's done the basic things. That game against Ole Miss, and I'll tell you this, that was one of the best games he's ever played. This has been Georgia and Miami. That was one of the finest games. He looked like the junior Carson Beck at Georgia. He looked absolutely phenomenal. He was in command. He was in control. You could just look at him and tell he never panicked. That touchdown run, the only reason that happened at the end is because everybody was covered. And I honestly don't think he was going to run until he saw how wide open that lane was. And then he had no choice to take us. Nobody was open on that play. His composure, it's just been unbelievable. Miami's just looked really, really, really solid with him as quarterback. His pro stock is really shot up. A lot of people are looking at him now thinking, hey, he might be a late day one, day two quarterback, especially now that Dante Moore is going to stay in school. His name kind of shoots right up. Another good game for him Monday night. His name kind of shoots up into that late first round, early second round deal for a team that needs a quarterback, good-sized quarterback. Carson Beck has really done an outstanding job.
Can I also say this before I turn it to you, Rocky, on your thoughts real quick? I would just say this. I'd much rather look at a Bella Danger every week with every protein that wants to feature him as their quarterback than Taylor Swift. Just saying. Just saying.
Can you imagine that entourage? They show the Taylor Swift entourage going in. Can you imagine the Bella Danger entourage or whatever team they go to?
Men will be happy to watch football even more again.
Yes. Gracias a
Bella
Dios
Danger,
para
that's
eso.
pretty cool. I got Haley Steinfeld up in Buffalo.
Yeah, but we can do a quick search for a Bella, and I'll be happy.
Did you see how she looked at the Golden Globes, man? I saw she even pregnant. Yeah.
Way to go, Josh Allen.
I think we can all agree that if that happens, that one of Bella Danger's friends will be Bill Belichick's wife rolling in there.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
I've already got odds that say that they're blood related. I got odds that they're blood related somewhere down the line.
Well, hey, listen, we all know Belichick's girlfriend is now Caleb Wilson's girlfriend at UNC. That's why they're doing so well right now and everything like that. So shout out to my guy Larry Frank and his Tar Heels. So, but Rocky, what were your thoughts in that Ole Miss game? You know, I mean, like obviously there's the flu bug that went around that affected 20 of Miami's key rotation guys. You know, you had some penalties. You had a guy kicked out. You know, they overcame a lot. And a hostile crowd that was really 65-35. I mean, and we knew that was going to be the case. I mean, Ole Miss has fans. They're a huge school, a lot of alumni, and that's what you're even going to get with the public schools, you know, like when you're a little private school in Miami. And Miami gets that rep that we don't sell out home games because our alumni is all over. Our fans are all over the place and everything like that. But I guess my thoughts are, I mean, what do you think about the job Mario's done for as much criticism as I have given him this year as how he's gotten his team prepared for this playoff run?
Well, Mario's done exactly what he said he was going to come here to do, right? So everything that Mario said he was going to come here to do whenever he was hired is now coming to fruition. He said he would rebuild the U. He's done that. He said he'd bring us back to championship games. Here we are. It's taken a little while, and he's also said that it wasn't going to be a quick fix. We're in year 4. So, you know, basically he's just, you know, I mean, he hasn't lied, you know, I mean, that was one of his buzzwords early on was, you know, he's going to tell the truth, right? He's always saying that in his press conferences, even leading up to all this. And you got to give the man credit, even though he's still getting bashed as of today, believe it or not. As far as the Ole Miss game, I mean, looking at Carson Beck, he was the one that everybody was questioning, right? I mean, going into that game, I mean, can Carson Beck lead this team, you know, to victory if he's called on, blah, blah. I think he's proven that he can, to his credit. You know, I mean, there's something to be said about having that steady hand at quarterback. And I said this before the game. You know, you've got that veteran with that veteran presence who's been in these big games, you know, that has been on the stage before. And he's not gonna blink. He's not gonna be shy. He's not gonna be the moment's not gonna be too big for him. And it wasn't in this game. And when he was needed to lead a drive, it happened. Now, credit, like I said the other night, Stallion, credit Ole Miss, because I thought, especially after that first quarter on the lines of scrimmage, as that game went on, I thought they settled in. They actually kind of stymied us a little bit on the offensive side. Chambliss did his whole running around back there in the pocket, changing those release points, and they were able to get some stuff going and really made it tough for us. You know, that combined with the mistakes that we made, it was the most undisciplined game that we've had in our playoff run so far. You know, but that could have been, you know, I think about that now. You know, that could have been attributed to the flu. We didn't know about the flu going in. You know, 20 players. To me, they looked off. You know, but that said, they were also making those mistakes, you know, all year. Yeah, you're right.
Larry, she's inspired me, and I don't have shit. So there we go. So I love
exactly.
it.
So I think I think they played their worst. I think they played a bad game, got out of there with a W, and I think that in itself is another turning point.
That's a good comment.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic comment.
Anthony echoes what you both are saying, all three of you. I think Carson's actually raised his draft stock because I think some of these NFL teams are going to like his experience and how many snaps he's had in college. And his record as a winning quarterback. Facts, 37-5 going in as a starter, guys. I mean, that's something to be said. I do want to highlight what Anthony wrote. And Coach, I really want your thoughts on this one because, you know, a lot has been made about this. As many as people talked about some of the referee calls, maybe not calling that flag at the end on the Hail Mary. What do you all think about the double standards with that ref and the back judge? How you call a non-targeting penalty on the Rebels player that hit Malachi Tony, almost could have knocked him out of the game. That would have changed things dramatically. But they call it targeting on Xavier Lucas. So
I have the photos pulled up of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I can
I
flip. I
mean,
don't know if I can flip my camera or not. Hold on. One
no, I'd
second.
love to see it, honestly. So I think that everybody would love to see it. I mean, because, they were saying that he may have launched, but I swear, I mean, like, how is that not
Okay.
hitting a defenseless player, in my opinion? I'm looking at, look, switch the jerseys. Switch the jerseys, and if
All
it
right.
was
Oh,
the Ole Miss
but
player, I would
you
have said
ready?
that was
You ready?
targeting.
You ready to see the corner of this photo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see the corner of that.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Wow, what a great shot.
That's a great shot.
Wow.
That's targeting. That's
That's
textbook targeting.
targeting.
He's leading with the crown of his helmet into the crown of the opposing player's helmet.
I'll be
And
honest
they-
with you. I
and
thought
he's
both calls were
defenseless.
targeting.
They
I
were-
thought both calls were targeting.
They were both.
you got-
I agree, big game. They were both targeted. They tried to say that he didn't launch into the player. Well,
You don't have to launch to have it get called
targeting.
targeting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
helmet.
He's leading with the
Hell with the
helmet. He's not
helmet.
making
Yeah.
an attempt to go down. That's textbook targeting.
Yeah.
The ref
That's
is right there in view to call it.
That's
Yeah.
a
He doesn't
perfect.
call
That's
it.
and
That's
he
a
didn't call
perfect
it.
shot.
And as a matter of fact, I mean that call, if you think about it, changed two things. Can I just highlight that? Because here's the truth of it. That call would have gotten 15 yards. That guy's kicked out of the game for the rest of the game, and that might open up things for Miami downfield a little bit more.
Mhm.
Furthermore, that because of that play call, it just was right there. Miami gets a long run on a Shamar Brown run, but it's negated by Alex Bowman, the tight end, holding, which pulls that back, that call back, and Miami ends up having a punt. You're looking down there at worst, maybe getting a field goal. Miami is for that. So that's 3 more points that could have been given to Miami, provided they get stalled or don't get a touchdown or something. I mean,
But then,
things could happen, but it's a lot better than going backwards behind the 50, punting the ball. Go ahead, Shane. So
I look at this one. You can tell that the Ole Miss player was lower, and Miami's defense player is trying to go low. His head is off to the side. So
Yeah.
to me, the first one's more targeting than this one is because he's attempting to go to the side, and it's not forcible contact. His head's over to the side. It's how you're taught to tackle now.
I would almost argue that he was trying to dislodge the ball, but credit to Lee, the receiver, for getting low and
Yeah.
basically protecting the ball. Because if he gets helmet on ball, that pops out, and that's a 50-50. Somebody jumps on that. I mean, but it's a bang-bang play. I mean,
It is a bang bang, but I would have called
again,
both of them targeting.
they should have been
called them both.
consistent. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right, Kerry. And I agree with you, Rocky. Now that I think about it, you're either going to
Especially
call
with
one or
ref
the other. Yeah.
The ref is right there looking at it too.
If it's too close, I err on the side of calling them both.
Yeah.
I'm
for
calling
sure.
them both.
Yeah.
Because
for
it's
sure.
to me, they both should have been called equally. The Miami guy now misses what, half of the first
half
half
of the first
game?
half, and he's a starting corner. He's been
See,
great
that's a
all
big
year.
deal. That's a pretty big deal. That's the rule I want to change. If you're
Yeah.
going to kick a guy out of the game, he shouldn't miss time in the next game, serving a punishment for this game. Give it a 15-yard penalty and an ejection, but let him come back and play the full game the next game he plays. I've never
Kerry,
liked that part of the rule.
I agree with you, Kerry. It's almost like World Cup rules, like you wipe out the yellow cards and the red cards for that big game. You want the best of the best. You know what I mean?
You want
against
both
each
teams
other,
at full strength from the beginning to the end. I've always been a hater of that rule. That if you get kicked out of this game, you're out. If you get kicked out in the first half, you miss the second half. If you get kicked out in the second half, you miss the first half of the next game. And to me, that next game had nothing to do with the game that you got kicked out of. To me, kick the guy out of and let him play next.
There's the play right there, and I mean, I just almost think that he was really trying to hit him as hard as he could in terms of maybe dislodging the ball, not so much trying to knock him out.
He was going low for the ball, and Lee just happened to be low.
Lee's a smaller guy.
Just happened to be low because the pass was behind him.
Yeah,
because the pass was behind him, and when he caught it to try to straighten himself back, he could never straighten himself back up, and that's when he got hit. But I still would have called both.
Can I say this, by the way? Those Ole Miss receivers, as much shit as I gave them before the game, saying that, hey, we just went up against the best wide receiver core. Maybe talent-wise, top to bottom, Ohio State's wide receiver room was better, but damn, those Ole Miss receivers played out of their minds catching everything that was in their area.
They were very good, very impressive.
I mean, oh my God.
And they're young,
really
too.
Stepped up, yeah.
And they're young. That's what's scary is the fact that they're young. They'll be back next year. They're going to be a contender.
If they can find a quarterback, I mean, they'd be right there in it offensively, and so
that one's more targeting right there. That one is targeting.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. I mean, and then the funny thing is the guy hits Tony. Now, Tony went to the medical tent, got cleared, but the guy for Ole Miss that delivered the hit was actually the one on the ground that had to be helped off the field.
Out.
Yeah,
he knocked himself out.
I mean, dumbass. Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, if you're gonna target, do it right. Don't get knocked. Don't knock yourself out.
Yeah.
And the thing back in our day, we were told to leave with our helmet.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I ended my career with so many concussions. But realistically, the truth of the matter is, Anthony, and I'm going to get to your comments here in a second when we finish up the semifinals. The other game that we'll talk about real quick, and I'm going to catch up the chat box while you guys thoughts about it, was that atrocious semifinal game between Oregon and Indiana. And let me just tell you this, guys. If you didn't hear my rant about Oregon, look, I'm just going to just say this. I have just referred to them as the greatest suck wannabe team of all time because they have all this hype. And they always mess it up when it's the biggest thing ever is on the line. And it's like, look, it's a nice story. They've had some nice players come through there. But at the end of the day, other than a few Pac-12 championships and maybe an upset here and there over a team, it talks about trophies and championships on the national level. And you're not there. Okay. I mean, you had a home winning streak, you dominated a conference that's not even a conference anymore. That's going to be basically the de facto Mountain West meets the Pac-12 starting this year coming up. But I'm just saying that, what the hell have they really proven? And their fans went all that way and had this look on their face. And I'm like, how is that any different from the other looks you've had on your face when you got your asses rolled by Ohio State in 14 with a third-string quarterback in Cordero? Or what about last year when Ohio State rolled you all in the Rose Bowl when everybody thought you were unbeatable? I mean, come on. So with Dylan Gabriel as their quarterback. So what were your all's thoughts on that game? I mean, the minute that the pick six happened, I even messaged Larry and Rocky. I said, I knew that they'd blow out these guys. I knew Indiana was going to blow these guys out. But go ahead. Whoever wants to go first.
Game was over on play number one. He threw it behind the receiver. Two, the defensive back looked more like the guy intended for the pass than the receiver. And the game was over. The game was over. I sat there and looked and went, yeah, that's play number one. This game's over. And sure enough, I was right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they get all the hype, Stallion, because they're the Phil Knight school, right? That's really what they are.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't turn the ball over 4 times. Dante Moore shit the bed royally in that game. You can't give a good team like Indiana chances like that. Oregon's a finesse team. They had 2 running backs that were out hurt, so they were shorthanded. 2 coaches on their staff leaving to take other jobs, not focused. You could just tell that they weren't really there to play. But at the same time, I agree with you, Stallion. They couldn't hang with Indiana anyway. Indiana's too physical. Their style of play just inhibits what Oregon tried to do. We'll get to Indiana because I've watched a bunch of film on them today.
I have too.
We'll get to them in a bit. But Oregon, Oregon. The only chance Oregon had was to play a perfect game, and then they were going to have to be lucky at that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they could actually pull it off because I picked them last week like a dumbass. Obviously, I didn't think Dante Moore was going to turn it over 4 times.
Rocky, not to be a dick. I learned my lesson picking against these fools against Alabama. I wasn't going to pick against them again like that.
And I look in my heart of hearts, I wanted the Mario Bowl. Shane Owens,
of course,
I wanted the Mario Bowl. So, but Indiana was just too strong for him, and just too many mistakes from Oregon at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rock, if you had gotten that bowl Monday night, Oregon and Miami, it would have been a bigger route than what Georgia did to TCU a few years ago.
I believe that. It would have been Kerry, I believe that. Kerry, I believe a bigger route.
Oregon and would not have been ready for that moment.
And Mario would have ran it up just to because like I said, and I think it was this show where I made that comment that Phil Knight made a Dan Gilbert comment, like when LeBron James left Cleveland for Miami. Oh, we're going to win a title before Mario ever does in Miami. And here he is. He's on the verge of 60 minutes. Yeah, how'd that work out?
Well.
Yeah, Mario was going to be motivated anyway for the national title. Could you imagine Mario versus Oregon for the national title in Miami?
That'd been a blowout city.
One thing I was going to say was this. Even with Phil Knight's money, I think it was Anthony had a great comment. I want to highlight this real quick. Hold on one second. He actually put it out there that he had told multiple people that said that he didn't know football, that Oregon was too gimmicky. They relied too much on motions and wide receiver screens because their offensive line is very small. And what I find really great about that comment is Mario had their lines huge, just like he did at Miami. When he had on the big old Samoan guys up there, and that's how they went into Columbus and beat Ohio State a few years ago when he was coaching Oregon.
Penei Sewell, who's now a Detroit All-Pro with the Detroit Lions. That was one of Mario's greatest finds.
And Thibodeau and DJ Johnson on the defensive line that are playing on Sundays now and so forth. I mean, those guys were like he just knows how to win on the trenches. And coach, you have to win in the trenches. This is still a violent sport. It's not a contact sport. It's a violent sport. So, but I mean, Coach, what was your thoughts on it, man? Because I think we even messaged each other and said, well, this game's over. Get ready for Miami, Indiana next Monday. I mean, it wasn't even halftime yet when we made that comment in the chat box that we had private messages. So, yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was gonna be a little bit better a game. I've been hoping. I haven't been high on Indiana all year, and I probably should have been. So I'll eat my crow now, but they're playing really good football. Best football money can buy.
Yep.
I hate you, Mark Cuban.
Well,
they're taking advantage of NIL. They're taking advantage of NIL, just like a lot of other schools are doing.
Yeah, I think the thing I hate seeing now the most, though, just with all these teams, is now seeing it's like this player has re-signed with such and such team. It's like it's free agency every year now. And
it is. Yep.
Anybody can do anything.
Hell, Lane Kiffin came into our backyard and took Levitt because I really believe Levitt was about to sign with either Miami or Tennessee, and he slips into our backyard. I don't know how much he slipped him, but he slipped him enough to get him to sign to LSU.
Did you see the X pics of the airport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a friend of mine at the airport, he called me and told me, he said, you ain't going to believe this, but Lane Kiffin said, I said, no, that doesn't surprise me at all because he's a snake.
Too bad I can't use my last name to ban him from the airport.
I know, right, McGee? Right, Coach? So, yeah.
Right, Coach?
I mean, can I just say this, though? One last thing about this Oregon-Indiana game, and we can move on to the national title game because a lot of the chat box has questions about Indiana with this potential cheating thing, stealing signs, whatever's going on there. We'll talk about that. But one thing I want to also point out is this. Yes, Indiana took advantage of the pick six. They took advantage of the turnovers. Can I ask this question, guys? And if I'm just way off base by saying this.
Go for it.
Where the fuck was Oregon's defense? Weren't they supposed to be really good all year? Or was it against who they were playing? I mean, what are we talking about?
They look good against Texas Tech. It's a good question.
That's a very good question.
I mean that Spencer Warner was basically the player of the game in that game. He had three? He had 2 picks and a fumble recovery or a fumble.
Yes,
I never heard his name.
Where were they at?
I didn't hear his name called once Friday night.
Not once.
Yeah,
not once. That's why I'm bringing that up. That's the only reason I wanted to bring that up before we move on. But I was like, it's one thing that maybe you hold them to field goals. Pick six is pick six. But if you make that 9 points as opposed to 21 or 28 points that was, there. I mean, look at the difference of that margin right there. If you take 21 points off of that, yes, they still win comfortably. But that's about the same way that they won against Oregon that time in Autzen by 10. To be honest with you.
Yep, so, by double digits. Yep.
Before we move on, he's here. He's in the house. So let's bring him on with a beautiful Rebels with a Cause welcome. The original OG co-founder of the RWAC family and channel. My guy, the Mr. West 2003, the voice of the running Rebels and Lady Rebels, and just finished a awesome night of calling Panthers and Lady Panthers his second season. The one, the only, 2-pair tape, Brian Tatum's in the house.
Fellas.
What's up?
Lady Panthers won in overtime. They
all
were
right.
Down 20.
Good deal.
All the way back.
Sounds like UT Ben last night.
Oh my God. Yeah. the fellas at Mississippi State, they were down 15, clawed all the way back to lose by 3 at the buzzer, and it's happened 2 years in a row with Cleveland State. They're always a tough matchup, and both boys and girls teams of the high schools, just struggling trying to find their footing. Tough week against Central, but hopefully they can right some wrongs tomorrow night. So,
there's always tomorrow night. That's it.
There's always tomorrow night, my man.
I like the fact that we're getting to see the two best teams. Like the two best teams are playing for the national title.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
The way Indiana has just rolled over teams, it's going to be a little bit different Monday night. This is not this is not what Oregon was. You know what I mean? Like, what I saw at the line of scrimmage was, it just feels like Mendoza is like 2 or 3 plays ahead. It just feels like he's 2 or 3 plays ahead. And Miami just always makes the necessary plays every time. Like, their backups. Like, you got Fletcher, who's been running very hard, but you got Brown, who can get you key third downs. And that secondary, Miami secondaries play really well. Like, they have played really well. And kudos to Ole Miss, because just the story of Ole Miss, just because as much as I wanted to see Miami win, I wanted to see Ole Miss just stick it to Lane Kiffin. Like, it's just a great storyline of what has happened in college football. And I feel like college football has told an incredible story this year.
Man, that's a great comment, dude. That's great right there. Yes.
Yeah.
And we said that. We said that, too, I want you to finish your thought, but we said that at the beginning of the year. Shane, all of us, when we were here, Rock wasn't on yet on the panel, but we all said it's up for anybody's game. This is going to be an exciting football season, and it could be anybody that can win. And, guys, was Indiana even in the top 25 at the beginning of the year? I know Miami was preseason 10.
16. They were 16.
I think they were.
They were 16th.
They were 16th at the beginning of the year.
Because of the way they finished last year. And that goes to Signetti. This year we saw a ton of firings. We saw players not even coming into spring practice. We seen so many different stories this year, and it shaped the sport, and it shaped the game. I like what Anthony wrote.
Yeah, he wanted this for you guys to answer. How rare is it in general? Big game. It was more towards you because you've been around longer than all. The referees are going to call a pass interference on a Hail Mary. They're just not going to do that with that mutual combat.
I've actually seen more completions on a Hail Mary than actually the pass interference call. They do not call pass interference.
Or incompletions.
Yeah. Incompletions is one thing. I've seen a lot more completions happen. I've seen more touchdowns happen on Hail Marys than I've seen pass interference calls because it's a scrum. It's a scrum at that point.
Never seen a flag on a Hail Mary, ever.
But the last 2 games have just ended. Like the Ole Miss Georgia game, the way that ended. The way the Miami Ole Miss game is. Do I think there's a penalty there? It's a yes and no, and they're not gonna whistle that at the end. Like, we've seen it before. We've seen them, whistle it like that before. And
at the Fiesta Bowl with Miami involved,
right? And I don't think if you have that same thing happen, they call it PI. It changes the diameter of that game, but they give them one more play, and I don't think Ole Miss is successful in doing that. But Trinidad played very well, man. That's a pretty damn good football team over there. And Pete Golding, the way he coached, man, my hat's off to those guys. My hat's off to Ole Miss, because they were fighting an uphill climb with losing Lane coaches leaving, players not sure what's going to happen. Kudos to them, man. They fought one of the best teams in the country. That Miami team, they're just resilient, man. And the guys over there, you got veteran guys over there. You got a defensive line that is going to be playing on Sundays, and the alumni, the alumni that come back, the Clinton Portises, the Philip Buchanans, the Ray Lewises, the Michael Irvins, all those guys still come back. Edgerrin James, Andre Johnson, those dudes are there for their guys. And what it does for those young guys, it's like you're seeing it passed down like generations of Hurricane tradition. Now, the one thing I would say is Indiana has just looked so dominant, like dominant. It's not like they're barely winning; they are dominating the opposition.
I'm not laughing at you.
By the way, Larry Frank says if the refs had called PI, coked up Irvin would have swung his belt on the entire officiating crew before the clock hit 0. So, then they would have had the ball on the 2-yard line like in the NFL or whatever with one play.
Yeah, that would have been crazy, Larry Frank. That would have been crazy.
The one thing I'll say, I give Indiana, this game is going to be really good. This game is going to be very exciting because they say styles make fights. Well, you got two contrasting styles. With Miami is physical, violent, everything is straightforward. Indiana is straightforward, but with a twist. They out scheme people.
Yeah,
and I just watched the game this weekend with San Francisco and Philadelphia. Philadelphia's defense, physical, violent, get after you. Kyle Shanahan and them, how they beat them, they out schemed them. I feel that's how Indiana can win the game if they out scheme Miami. It's going to be a hard fight, but if they can out scheme Miami at the right times, they may have an advantage. Miami's just so physical; they're not going to be able to match up physically. They've got to beat them by scheme.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a challenge in itself. That's why this game is going to be so good and so intriguing because I want to see these two different styles clash. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I got a lot to say in this regard, Stallion. I got a bunch. I watched all 3 games. I watched Indiana, Penn State. I watched Indiana, Ohio State, and I watched Indiana, Iowa. I watched all 3. All 3 of the games that Indiana had struggled during the season. Listen, on defense, they don't do a lot. They stay pretty straight up and forward. They drop 7, rush 4. They pretty much spot drop whenever they drop off in their zones and their zone coverages. They blitz rarely. When they do blitz, they do come from different angles, sometimes a corner, sometimes a linebacker, but they don't do that often. It's the same MO as what we've had, Stallion, throughout the playoffs. They haven't seen a team like Miami because when you look at their opponents, OSU, they dominate the offensive line. What was the weakness for Ohio State? The offensive line. We dominated them too.
I'd argue their running game too. They had no running game.
OSU had no running game. When they played Penn State, okay, on Penn State, the Penn State defensive line was a problem. Well, Indiana's offensive line really took it to Penn State's D-line. Now, Penn State got some penetration finally when they started to blitz and they started to mix up some schemes and started sending people. That's when they kind of confused them, right? And were able to get some traction. But one-on-one, man-on-man, Penn State couldn't hold up. Same thing with Iowa. Iowa's defensive line couldn't hold up against the offensive line. That game was played in weather, okay? And same deal. Whenever they started kind of mixing things up, all right, on the back end and started sending people, they got a little traction there too. Here's the thing. When you look at that and then you try to digest all 3 of those games versus Miami has a defensive line that can hold up their own and then some.
This is completely different. Yeah,
they haven't
completely different.
They haven't seen a defensive line like this. Okay, on offense. All right, on offense, their scheme they don't do a lot, and really their tells are the running back and then that off man, that tight end on the line of scrimmage. Okay, If he's off the ball, they're going to go inside zone, or they're going to go outside zone on the pass block. If he's on the ball, then the guy's releasing, and the running back's either releasing out, or he's getting a chip on the defensive line and coming out for a pass, and it's a pass play. The only play that scares me for Indiana is that damn QB draw with Mendoza when they spread him out 4. All right, and they've got nobody. No tight
He's
end,
athletic. I mean, yeah.
And they run that QB draw that kills us. That kills us every single time, Stallion. That gets us for 10 to 15 yards every single time, and that's the play we got to watch. But I'm telling you,
and I'd say he's better.
I'm telling you guys, I watched all of these games, all right, and I went through and kind of spread it out second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and they didn't change much on offense. I mean, you take that into effect, plus the fact that Corey Heatherman coached under Kurt Cignetti at James Madison, was his defensive coordinator, knows tendencies, knows what Kurt Cignetti likes to run and how he likes to operate the offense. The fact that they can't do tempo, the fact that they're in the case of how they run their operation, they're a mirror for Miami because they run their operations the same way. They huddle, it's slow, they take time off the game clock. I mean, there's nothing really like, okay, for Ole Miss, you worry about tempo, you worry about Chambliss changing up the cadence, you worry about Chambliss's feet.
He making a play out of no play.
And you worry about them gassing out the defense, right? You worry about that versus Ole Miss. You don't worry about that versus Indiana. They don't run their operation that way. So all of these things taken into account is why when I see like, okay, Miami's going to get killed, Indiana's a juggernaut. I'm looking at it.
I don't think that. I don't see that either, Rob.
I don't see it. I'm like they play right into Miami's hands with the style of operation that they run offensively and defensively, because defensively they don't do a whole lot either. I mean, they don't make a lot of mistakes. They're disciplined. I'll give them that. Very disciplined. Their defense, they got some scrappers, but again, we outweighed them 330 to like 270, and they haven't gone up against that yet.
Yep.
Can I throw this out there? Can I throw this out there? To no disrespect to Iowa or Ohio State or Penn State, which were the 3 closest games they played all year, but Miami's got a running game, and Miami's got 2 huge backs they can throw at them, and then we really haven't seen Pringle all that much, who's really the home run threat, who they maybe don't trust as a true freshman. But the truth of the matter is, Fletcher right now is just – he has as many yards in the playoffs as he had all season. Now, he battled some injuries and so forth that Miami would go with the hot hand. But I would even argue that that's an advantage in regards to what Alabama had. No running game, guys. We've seen that all year. And then Oregon, without their 2 top backs, I mean, that must have changed their game plan completely to at least try to maybe stay in a track meet with those guys.
Oregon was not the same team against Indiana.
No,
that wasn't the same Oregon team that we saw against Texas Tech. That wasn't the same. It wasn't the same Oregon team. Like
they were banged up. They were
banged up, but it was just the fact that Indiana imposed their will and the way Indiana was able to score on each possession. Each possession, you just saw like Mendoza in these playoff games has been surgical. He's 8 touchdowns, 5 incompletions.
Can they get to him?
Yeah, but he's also been 2-pair, 1 read and throw, 1 read and throw, 1 read and throw or run. Like if you look at it,
if they can't stop
and they haven't just like Big Game just said, they haven't gotten to him. Nobody's
you can't get to him.
If you can't get, here's the problem, and everybody's bringing up fantastic points. Miami, Indiana, that's why out scheming them becomes crucial in a game like this, because Indiana hasn't had to do anything in their 2 games.
Nothing.
They probably saved up a few things for Miami because they know how Miami's fast, Miami's strong, Miami's violent. There's ways to counteract that.
I watched a handful of plays, fellas, where in the Indiana Penn State game, where Indiana's offensive line just washes down the defensive line for Penn State on some counter plays, some counter running plays. That's not going to happen to Miami.
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
That ain't going to happen.
No.
So
that's why you got to out scheme.
I think the game is going to be won in the trenches.
Yeah, the game's going to be won in the
trenches. And when you look at the size of what Miami has on the offense and defensive line, you're going to probably favor Miami. But the way Indiana has looked, it's crazy because it's the way they looked against lesser teams. That's not the same with Miami. You're going up against somebody that's going to throw their best punch too. Because let's be honest, Alabama didn't show any type of moxie.
Oh, they looked awful.
Oregon didn't show a lot of fight. I mean, they were just they were hamstrung with the injuries, and it seemed as if Indiana was able to take advantage of favorable position, able to scheme, and the quarterback play was just phenomenal. It's going to be a little bit different when you're in a hostile, like that crowd is going to be pro Miami. That is a home game for Miami.
Well, the other thing, too, is Anthony wanted me to read these two comments about the tempo. For example, he brought up going into the Ole Miss Miami game, media was constantly bringing up the tempo for the Rebels being their moxie, but it seemed like Miami's tempo wore out Ole Miss, and he believes that's what's going to happen to Indiana. He further brings up the fact that he wanted to also say that because people are so focused on the tempo Indiana runs, Miami also runs tempo, but it's constant body blows, like acute to a knockout boxer, similar to Oscar De La Hoya, who would just wear you down before giving you the knockout. That's fair. We do have an Indiana fan in the house. Indiana.
He went with Oscar De La Hoya.
He went with Oscar De La Hoya. But anyway,
of all the boxers in the world,
I think he likes the no mas. I think he likes the no mas story or whatever. Okay. But anyway, well, that's Roy. I think that was Roy Jones Jr. that did that.
No, that's Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray.
Exactly. And Sugar Ray, that's it. Yeah.
No, that's a good comparison though. De La Hoya. Yeah. I didn't think we were going to get an Oscar De La Hoya reference.
I didn't either. So we do have an Indiana guy. We do have an Indiana guy in the house, Justin Smith. Indiana doesn't think they're a juggernaut. They literally play to win every single possession. It's that simple.
He further goes on to say, what did I say the Ohio State game?
I got news.
As many people who said Ohio State's good, I'm like, guys, you really you got to think of where this game is being played at to where it's favorable for Indiana. Like, I've only seen those guys. What, the Oregon game and maybe the Penn State game and the Ohio State game, the Big Ten championship, where you saw their feathers kind of get ruffled, but they're going into the backyard of Coral Gables. You're in Miami. Like, it is going to be a very tough place to get a win. Like, everybody and a mama that played for the University of Miami is flying in Monday the 19th. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be very tough to win. Yeah. As much as I like Indiana, I got this as a 3.5 ball game.
Yeah. Hey, what about that line, guys? I mean, I have. Let me get that down here. By the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
The line went up to 8.5. Now some people.
I don't like it at 8.5. I think it's a 3.5 line. I think Miami. I'm
surprised it went over 5.
You got it at 5?
I'm surprised it went over 5. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I thought it would be under 5.
2 pair big game, Stallion. The line was 10 against Ohio State. And how did that turn out?
True. And I said we would win by 10. Yeah, I was shocked.
See, that's one of the reasons I thought it would be 5.5. I thought it would be under 5.
I really think that's a 3.5 ball game.
Yeah.
And I think with the way Miami's defensive line is, and the way they get after it, and the way they can rattle an opposing quarterback, that's where I got it at 3. I love Indiana. I've been on the Indiana train.
You have. Yeah.
I just think that's too many points.
I do too. I don't see this 8.5, 10.5.
I don't either.
At the most, I'm thinking 3 points, and I could probably have it at 1.5 by Sunday night.
Yeah.
That's why I jumped on it at 8.5, and I threw 100 on Miami to win outright. That's why I did it, and I'm fixing to win 270.
That's not a bad bet. That's smart.
And the over under is 48. Take the under.
I would take the under. Yeah, that's an under bet.
I don't
think it's going to be that high scoring.
I don't think it's a close scoring game. I think it's like a 40-point game.
Let me ask you this, too, Perry. I'm glad you brought that up. So let me ask you this. Let's just say, for apples and oranges, we knew that Ohio State-Indiana game went 13-10, something like that. If the game is like that, low scoring and close, who does that favor?
I think it favors Miami, being the where they're playing, the way that line can get after it. I think it favors them. But here's a scenario I wanna paint. If Beck becomes turnover prone,
that's the word. That's the key word in this entire game.
If he becomes turnover prone, because the Ole Miss game, he was skating by. I think it was the tip pass. It was the interception. That was his only turnover in that game. But he has to play mistake-free football. He has to. If you get into a turnover game with Indiana and where it's favorable position for Mendoza, that's where I kind of get scared for Miami.
Got a Bama fan and somebody new in the chat. Jay Smith 6834. Welcome to Rebels with a Cause.
Welcome.
I hope you hit that like and subscribe button to us.
Shout out to the Birmingham Stallions.
Absolutely. He says his team is Bama. Indiana was a slippery team. They're good at getting in the backfield, blocking punts, but I think Miami matches up well with them. Justin Smith, the Indiana fan, says, could it come down to the coin toss? Justin, I actually brought that up. I said, because, if a lot of people are going to make a big deal of Xavier Lucas being out, granted, Anthony said that Jabari Antoine held his own, but listen, Jabari Antoine, a true freshman, is going to have to go up against a 23, 24-year-old wide receiver, and that's going to be a little bit different for him than what he was going up against Ole Miss. That being said, if Miami wins the toss, I hope they take the ball first, and if they get a good 7 to 8 minute drive and get a touchdown and not have to settle for a field goal or turn the ball over, then that is pretty huge, because you just shaved off 8 minutes right there that you don't have to worry about Xavier Lucas not being on the field if you're going to be short DB-wise with their personnel, with some guys banged up for Miami right now. But that's actually not a bad point about the coin toss of who takes that coin toss. So, of who gets it first. So.
But to me, turnovers are going to be a huge story in this game.
That's been Miami's crutch.
It's the short fields. You give Mendoza a short field, he's going to make you pay.
Yeah, every time.
You give Miami a short field, they're going to make you pay. I think the turnover battle, whoever commits more than 2 loses this game, because it's a funny thing. Turnovers seem to happen in a game that's this nip and tuck with 2 good, outstanding teams. It's the little things like turnovers. It's another thing. Indiana can block punts. Miami almost blocked a punt a couple games ago.
Like the field goal.
It's those things like that. Field goal blocks, punt returns, kickoff returns. It's little things like that are going to determine this game. Whoever can get a couple of them out of the way, that's an advantage. That's a huge advantage.
This is going to be the ultimate Bam Bam game. Remember Bam Bam from Flintstones?
Yep.
Bam, bam. This is going to be the ultimate Bam Bam game at the line of scrimmage. You think Cristobal is going to want to do anything than ride the horses that got him here and prove, make his final proof point positive that you can win a national title at the line of scrimmage? There's no better opportunity than right now versus the Goliath, Indiana, that pundits are calling them right now. No better opportunity.
Rocky, I'm glad you brought that up. And Jay Smith, if you're still in the chat contributing, I'd like your thoughts, being you a Bama fan. This is very reminiscent to what Saban ran at Alabama prior to Lane Kiffin bringing that fun and gun spread offense, because, they would wear you down with big running backs like Mark Ingram and that group, back
Sean
in the
Alexander,
day.
Mark Ingram,
Eddie Lacy, Trenton.
Derrick
Yeah,
Henry.
Derrick
Najee
Henry.
Harris. Najee
Yeah.
Harris.
Kenyon Drake,
Keon Drake.
Exactly. Yeah.
TJ
Yeah. So
Yeldon.
Yeldon,
TJ
yeah.
Yeldon.
So I'm just saying that those type of, I mean, that I'm not trying to say that Fletcher's those guys, but he's using bigger backs. Shamar Brown is it's just about 10 pounds lighter than Fletcher, but damn, he runs hard. And ever since he's got in the Ohio State game, he was having a really good game against Ole Miss, dragging guys down the field and so forth. Now,
I said he was the MVP of that Ohio State game.
Yeah, he was.
Cooper, one of the most underrated backs in college football, is Shamar Brown.
And running with a chip on his shoulder from North Dakota State. Go ahead.
Rocky, I said he was the MVP of both games.
Yep,
of both games where his third down conversions, his tough runs at the point of attack. I looked at those things to where, as much as I love Fletcher, Brown might be the unsung hero of this team. When you're talking third downs, you're talking about point of the attack, first downs, being able to push the pile. Guys like that are what wins national championships.
When you get hit 2 yards in the backfield and are able to squirt around it and gain at least two and a half to three, like what happened in that Ole Miss game when he got caught in the backfield by a blitzing backer and he still got past the sticks. It wasn't a big deal. That was first down. But that right there, that kind of a run just shows you the kind of back he is.
Absolutely.
Open field tackling. Open field tackling is going to be another key.
Shane brought that up. That was a great point.
Open field tackling.
Yes, and Miami's has not been that great at tackling. Now they swarm and they have other guys clean it up, but realistically, Ole Miss and Miami were actually the two teams left in the semifinals that were the worst tackling of all the teams that were in there. Not group of five, by the way. That was the stat that I found very interesting. So that's a very good point by Shane that he highlighted. One X factor that I want to throw out there very quickly was the fact that more than anything, guys, Keelan Marion, who is basically the third wide receiver, has really stepped up for Miami, especially on those two drives. He made the long touchdown catch that was a busted coverage, and he also made that key third down grab that extended the drive for Miami. And then another factor is CJ Daniels, who was injured when Miami did have those two losses mid-season with Louisville and SMU respectively. And realistically, he's kind of been a safety valve for not only Beck, but you have to focus on him and Tony, which has allowed Marion to really eat. And Marion right now is showing he's not just a punt returner anymore or a kickoff return specialist. He is actually playing himself to maybe a second-day pick at wide receiver, depending on how his pro day goes in Indianapolis or in Miami and so forth. So that's an X factor for me. Another thing is to keep an eye on is Miami is going to be possibly without Elijah Lofton, who got injured in that game. Now, a lot of people have said maybe Elijah Lofton didn't have the season that he was supposed to, but realistically, that's one less guy Indiana has to account for that was a very big part of the preparation and the run up until now and so forth. He did get injured pretty early on against Ole Miss, but you still have to account for a specimen out of a big powerhouse factory program like Bishop Gorman in an Elijah Lofton. And now you're going to an Alex Bowman who has had some critical holds, and maybe that tight end spot's going to be a weak spot for Miami this game, where it has been maybe a success in other games. The other thing I want to bring up, Rocky, you talk about Indiana rushing 4 and doing their stunts and dropping 7. At what point, if Miami's not really throwing the ball, do they start putting maybe 8 or 9 in the box, and then Miami goes over the top if they're having to do that, if Miami's gashing them for runs? I'm talking strategy, guys. I'm not talking shit. And chat box, I want your thoughts on that. This is what I'm talking. I'm talking strategy.
And that's the question, right? So can they hold up with their front four? Because they did it against Penn State. They did it pretty well. I mean, against Ohio State. I mean, Bo Jackson didn't have the best game in the world against them. So that is the question. Can that front four for Indiana versus our O-line and our running attack,
can they hold up?
Can they hold up against Mark Fletcher and Shamar Brown? Ohio State, all-world defense couldn't do it. I mean, Mark Fletcher ran for 158 yards or something like that. So we'll see, Stallion. We'll see.
Yeah. And Justin, thank you for bringing this up. And I'm glad that you are an Indiana fan that can bring this up and actually give me names and so forth. Yes, Kalen Black, and they're the real deal. And I will argue this. Ohio State didn't have a run game. Okay, they did not. A&M had a run game, but Miami knocked their guys out. I'm not saying that's going to happen with these two, but Lacey getting hurt on that long run, hurting that hamstring, changed Ole Miss's offense completely because they couldn't run it two-pair until the fourth quarter. They couldn't until Lacey was back in the game. He had to get some treatment on that hammy and to play through that. I mean, that's a fucking grown man right there to play through a hammy like that shit. So,
definitely going to be.
And I'm glad he brought up the Big 12. And the Big 12 refs that were actually the ones that didn't call anything against Miami and A&M and let them settle it on the field are going to be the same referee crew calling this game. It was announced today.
Are they the same? Are they the same crew?
It's the same Big 12 crew, yes, that called the Miami A&M game are going to be called. And I thought that they called it pretty fair. The only call that I had a problem with the entire game was that late hit that they called that extended the drive on Reed, where maybe Justin Scott could have pulled up on or whatever, but they gave him the 15-yard. It was a hell of an acting job by Reed that extended that drive. Luckily for Miami, they did intercept that pass in the end zone to not allow A&M to tie it and maybe send it to overtime. But at the same time, those refs really let it be settled on the field. But what happened is that still Miami got after that A&M offensive line that was talking all that garbage and got to Reed, and yes, Mendoza's a very athletic guy. He can run a little bit, but I wouldn't put him in the athleticism of, say, a Reed or a Chambliss. He's maybe a more active passer, but he doesn't have the legs because Reed extended some drives and got some first downs. I'm just saying strategy right here, guys. I'm not talking.
Mendoza's a smart runner.
Mendoza's a great
Mendoza is one of those very smart runners. He knows when to go. He knows when not to go. He's one of those guys that he's not going to go all the time. He's not going to run like Josh Allen or Lamar and those guys. He's a strategic runner. He knows when to go and when.
Is that for real going to be the weather forecast on Monday? I've not even looked. I'm worried about freezing my ass off here at 19 degrees and having a water drip up here in Knoxville.
It's supposed to be in the 60s Monday night in Miami.
Monday night? Okay, so it's not 75. Okay, all right. I was about to say, 75 down in Miami this time of year. But this is all new to Miami. Me and Larry Frank and Ruffy, you were in that too. We talked about, realistically that if you're a Miami podcaster right now, this is the furthest we've gone ever when we started doing this stuff, guys. At this point, we're talking about, back in the day when National Signing Day was on Groundhog Day, who's going to sign or who's coming in for visits, and we're hoping for a prayer, or spring practice. We were talking about it playing this late. This is beautiful right now if you're a Miami guy. But go ahead. So, this is all new to me to be talking about an actual championship game with us being one of two teams left when 136 started a dream. Go ahead, two-pair.
This is going to be my last thought because I got to hop off here. I've just got I wanted to, talk some national championship. But I really think, this can set the city of Miami ablaze. You bring it back home a national title. As much as I love the story of Indiana and I've been a fan of watching them, I'd love to see a national title be brought back to Coral Gables. I know that sounds,
and that's coming from a Seminole fan. That's coming from a Seminole fan too. I love it. So, we us growing up together and our love for our teams, and when we played at NCAA college football and picking Miami or picking Florida State, just to be able to see it. I really would love to see them win. Now, if Mendoza plays a heck of a game, they win it. Kudos to them. But what a story that would be for him.
Wouldn't it?
What a story. He comes back home and dethrones the team that overlooked him, and so forth.
That's the interesting thing. The headline's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be Miami is back on top with their sixth national title, or it's going to be the true definition of how NIL works. because Indiana would be the poster child for having NIL to help them win a national championship, to go from bottom, from the outhouse to the penthouse in 2 years.
But guys, have a great rest of the show.
Oh, give me your prediction. Give me your prediction real quick, Two-Pair. Before you get off, give me a score if you got one, brother, real quick before you get out of here. I want you to give the score so I can get it down.
I've got Miami 23, Indiana 20.
I like that. I like that a lot. Actually, I can see it.
I can see that game.
I just see it. I just see it very hard for them to win in Miami. Like if this was at SoFi, I'm not picking Miami. I'm gonna be real. If this was any other location,
Dallas, Atlanta again. If they were in the Peach Bowl,
I'm not picking. But it's a pseudo home game.
Yeah.
Like it's a pseudo home game. They should win.
They're just used to it. They're used to the conditions. They're used to it. I mean, I can see that,
it's location. And I like Indiana. It's not saying I don't like Indiana. It's just I think if Miami is playing in Miami, there ain't too many teams that can, like Notre Dame ain't beating Miami in Miami. All the teams that you can think of, they're not beating Miami in Miami. So I just wanted to say that, man. Guys, have a great
man,
week.
I appreciate it. I love you, man. You be good, all right? Get some rest.
Bills looked good, man. They looked good.
1 down, 3 to go, baby. We got Denver this weekend. We're gonna take out them Broncos Sunday. Saturday, baby.
Love you.
Two-Pair.
Take care, Two-Pair. You bet.
Love y'all, man. Y'all take
love
care.
You, man.
Have a great rest of the show.
You bet.
You bet, brother.
Yeah, I want to catch up the chat box a little bit. Big Game, you got a question from Anthony. He wanted to ask you: do you feel it's harsh that the media is saying that Indiana is cheating because the majority of their roster is basically guys who are old enough to already be in the NFL and couldn't make it as semi-pro, and then now there's these hacking allegations that, by the way, I just want to say this was not started by Miami. This is by Big Ten teams that are stating this, by the way. And I don't know if this is sour grapes or whatever, that they got their asses kicked. I mean, because, guys, let's be real. At the beginning of the year, we were talking about Penn State or Ohio State, especially with the Swiss cheese schedules that they had, that they should almost be meeting for maybe a second game or a third game in this playoff had they met in the Big Ten and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? But what I'm getting at is that more sour grapes at this point by the Big Ten, or is there something to this? Because I'm not going to insinuate that shit. I mean, realistically, I just think that Cincinnati has made these guys believe in themselves. There is a culture there. There's a team. And can I say this? You can go back to one of these shows. What did I say about Cincinnati? I said he's the type of guy that will fuck your girlfriend in front of you, and it's after almost 11 o'clock, so it's right about after dark, and laugh at you. And he said, "You're going to enjoy watching me do it 3 more times." I mean, that's the type of mentality.
And get the key on his way out.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to drink your bourbon. So
I just think this is sour grapes because you got traditional powers in that conference like Ohio State, Michigan, Penn, who both have won national titles recently, and especially Michigan, who has fallen on hard times because they got a coach who wants to be a porn star instead of a football coach. You got Ohio State, who got humiliated on a national stage by Indiana. Yeah, this is just sour grapes because a lot of these teams can't take advantage of what they have, because nobody wants to go to Purdue. Nobody wants to go to Wisconsin anymore. Nobody wants to go to Iowa and some of these other places. Indiana, who wants to go to Bloomington, Indiana, except for basketball? But now they've established themselves as a stronger football program, and they're only going to get stronger.
They've already made some portal. They've already made some portal moves. And speaking of the portal, before we go to the NFL, and we'll come back and pick this game, obviously, guys. And this has been a great discussion. And this is what I like. I like that we're having a civilized conversation about this game, because guess what, guys? Whether Miami wins or Indiana wins, when the clock hits 0, college football's over. It's over. Yep. I mean, realistically, you'll have some of those games. And I used to be one of those people that loved to watch the East-West Shrine game and the Senior Bowl and all that stuff. But let me just be real when I say this and so forth, more than anything, is the fact that realistically, I just, I'm going to miss it. Whether we win or when we lose, I've just enjoyed this ride, Rocky, and some of these Miami fans are more worried about next year and who we're going to have on our roster and who we're not. Why don't we just enjoy these guys for 60 more minutes? Because I'm going to bring up something. Somebody brought up something in one of the other podcasts and said, I want you to print out Miami's roster and just go down the line and just print it out. And in 5 years, you're going to highlight some of the names that you're going to see on Sunday that maybe you didn't think. You looking at Miami's roster, he wasn't comparing it to the early dominant 2000 teams or anything in the 80s. He wasn't saying that. But what he was saying is there's a lot of guys on this roster that are probably going to be playing on Sunday somewhere, whether they finish out their careers at Miami, whether they just came in late for this 1 or 2 years. But that's what's it made Miami special on this run. And let's be real, this is the era of college football that we're in right now, that if you can find a guy that maybe didn't have success at another program, you had him not only ball out and buy in, and God, the coup d'etat, stay injury-free, you can go on a run like this. But guys, it almost didn't happen for Miami. I mean, and I no offense to Jay Smith if he's still in here. I mean, that Alabama being in there was a wasted of a spot, in my opinion. I mean, I just think that, look, I'm no Notre Dame fan, but it's very intriguing, the road, you go the road that you would have had to go through. But I would argue that any team that was on this side of the bracket that has had to go through the gauntlet that we've gone through, and I'm giving Indiana credit, but what I'm saying is put Ohio State, had they won the Big Ten, do they murder Alabama and Oregon, Rocky?
Yes.
What about Texas A&M? What about Texas A&M? Do they murder those?
Texas A&M beats Alabama. Texas A&M beats Oregon. Yes.
Okay. What about Georgia?
We've had the harder road. We've had the harder road.
What about Georgia? Okay.
Georgia's interesting because I think Georgia got exposed a little bit. I mean, I'll just say there would be tougher games. I mean, Texas A&M and Georgia would be a toss-up. I think Ohio State beats Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And I guess I was more asking, like, does Georgia beat Alabama and Oregon if they're going the same?
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
All right. What about Ole Miss?
I said this before the playoff even started. I thought Notre Dame should have been in there over Alabama. I was the one tooting that drum, no matter how aggravating Notre Dame's fans were at the time. I actually thought they were a better choice to get in Alabama. The last couple of games I watched Alabama play in the championship game, and then before that against Auburn, they looked like dog crap. And it carried over into the Indiana game. So all this hype about Indiana beating Alabama, I think that's much ado about nothing. I don't agree with putting Alabama on that pedestal. They're not the same team as what they were whenever Saban had them. Kalen DeBoer is not the coach that Saban was. So I mean, in my opinion. So
I'm not going to pick on Alabama. I don't want to pick on Alabama anymore. But, guys, I just still can't get over the fact that I'm watching Oklahoma and Alabama in the first round of the playoffs when this whole thing started. And I'm literally going to get soup to try to cure this flu that I have because this Asian place up the street makes a really good wonton soup that always takes care of my flu for whatever reason. And I literally go to pick up the damn takeout. And it's 17-0 Oklahoma. When I'm literally back to sit down and enjoy my soup, it's 17-17. If anybody should be ashamed of themselves through this entire playoffs, was Oklahoma with the atmosphere that they had that night, with their royalty there in the crowd. Jim Ross, the boss, all those guys, Stoops. I mean, and for them to blow that lead and then not just lay a complete egg after blowing that lead and their all-star kicker missing those field goals. It's just unbelievable. And the wind, I guess, had something to do with that, too. The same wind that affected down in Texas the next day. But what I'm getting at more than anything is the fact that, I just still cannot believe Alabama got as far as they got after getting just absolutely murdered in that SEC title game against Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't look good. I mean, and then Oregon, to an extent, I know that they were a little bit beaten up. And I'm glad Shane highlighted it when he was on. And I'm sorry he had the technical difficulties and couldn't jump back on because you'd really get a lot of great coaching perspective from him when he's on here. And that's why he's on here. And I hope you catch his show when it debuts here in the next week or so, Coach's Corner. But the truth of the matter is that you look at the fact that Oregon was, I guess what I'm trying to say here is their coaches were already focused on the next job. A&M's coordinators were focused on the next job. Ole Miss, my God, back and forth between Baton Rouge and whatever. I will say this about Miami and Indiana. Whether their guys are going to leave or not at the end of the season, if there's Dawson's going to leave or Heatherman's going to leave for Miami and the coordinators respectively for Indiana are going to leave, they sure have not shown anything but being locked in on the job. And I'm glad
credit that to Mario Cristobal, our leader. Credit that to Cristobal.
To Cristobal, and credit that to Cincinnati as well, because they've all gotten their guys locked in, and you're going to have the two best teams. And I want to see in-game adjustments. I want to also see, that's the other thing with Miami. If I have a criticism for, you cannot wait till fucking halftime to make any type of adjustment.
No.
You need to do something right there, because every minute that passes is precious, especially if you're going to be in a fight. Because I was looking at that with that 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Rocky had to talk me off the ledge. I mean, he was like, Stallion, don't give up on him yet, But I was just like, I've seen this song and dance before, and that Fiesta Bowl had just been a curse for Miami, and we just had to exercise that demon, I guess. Let me catch the chat box up. Guys, what else do you got before we move on to NFL and the portal and everything of that nature? So
this is the best two teams are playing in the national title. Like I said, it's going to be a rock'em sock'em fest, and I agree with what Two Pair's comments were. It's not going to be easy as what everybody thinks for Indiana just to come in there and show up and win the national title in Miami. Yeah. It's crazy.
I'm looking forward to a really good football game. I think it's going to be I'm like Rocky and you guys, it's going to be a hard-hitting football game. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be fierce. The fans. This is great for the fans. This is great. This is great for college football. You got the two. You got the two best teams. You got the two best teams playing for the national championship. This is what the playoff has led us to, as screwed up as the playoff selection has been. We're at the stage we should be. The best two teams are playing for the national championship.
I agree.
And maybe this will be a helping from here on in. And Miami, Miami may have been the last team in, but they got a chance to be the best team, the last team standing.
And the playoff committee got it right. Thank God.
And they did.
Yep, for sure.
And I was thinking,
go ahead.
I was thinking something funny. If Indiana does win this game, how does that look to Notre Dame? How funny would that be to Notre Dame? Hey, you couldn't win in Miami, but Indiana could. How funny would that be to Notre Dame?
I mean, they'll come up with some crap.
Of course they will.
Because Kerry, I'm glad you brought that up, because I am going to bring up one last thing before we go to the NFL. I do want to bring this up about the portal. Larry had a beautiful comment earlier in the show that I wanted to highlight. How about that Rec League MVP Ty Simpson? That idiot bypassed $6.5 million to hold offensive lineman jock straps for $225K his first year salary. He didn't want it enough. I guess he just didn't. Maybe he couldn't trust himself down there in Miami. He didn't want a Bella Danger. But the truth of the matter is I do want to say this about Indiana. If you talk about the embarrassment that Miami faced last year, and I'll go back the last 2 years, whether they didn't take a knee against Georgia Tech, all the ridicule that Mario's faced, the loss to Georgia Tech last year with Cam Ward, the Syracuse 21-0 blown lead and losing, and they didn't have a defense. I mean, we don't have to get into that, and you wasted Cam Ward. But I will say this much. For as much shit as Miami took last year and have taken somewhat this year, I think that you got to give credit to Indiana for, I really thought after Notre Dame beat the shit out of them last year that they were just a one-trick pony and they wouldn't come back. So shout out to them for Mendoza and whoever else they pulled in and whoever came back from that team to kind of rally around that and say, no, we're not that. And we're the ones dissing out the blowouts this year. And so I give them props to that, because I thought that once Notre Dame disposed of them last year, you'd never hear about Indiana. I mean, Jay Smith said something about the whole thing where he was just saying that this has been a program that has lost for 100 years. I would argue that Miami has been a loser program for 23 years. Okay. And I'm just going to be, I'm going to be real. Look, we had some fun with the turnover chain that one year. We had a win here and there and so forth like that. But for the most part, we have been the ridicule of the butt of jokes, the U being thrown down disrespectfully, teams rushing the field and tearing down goalposts against ghosts that haven't adorned that uniform in years, guys.
Yeah.
In years. And guys that maybe wore that uniform, congratulations, they got a degree from that university. But let's be real, they wouldn't have even been on the six deep on some of those best teams in the 80s. I mean, no matter how guys are bigger and faster or whatever that means, they didn't have the heart or the drive that those kids back then wanted to use football to get out of the hood and the problems that they were in. You know,
through those 23 years, Stallion, we had individuals. We didn't have rooms. Now we have rooms. That's
the thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stallion speaks Sunday night, Justin. I hope you come on. Thank you, brother.
Please hit like right, Rocky. That was the perfect comment to end the thing. Difference between individuals and rooms. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Well, and let's just get into this real quick. And last thing, it's going to be like Fury versus Wilder. Yeah, I mean, I expect a heavyweight championship match, guys. That's what I want more than anything. No, it's not a fun thing when you watch what Georgia did to TCU a couple of years ago. I just couldn't look away because it was a bad accident. But
that was Wilder and Logan Paul.
It was.
That was Wilder and Jake Paul.
Yeah, that was. So, well, let's talk some NFL because you guys, congratulations to your Bears, Rocky, and to your Bills. Big game, Kerry Reeves. You guys are still dancing. My God, one of my teams fired Mike McDaniel finally. Amen. So I guess Stephen Ross was okay with the pictures of him and Sharon Moore with the OnlyFans girls getting out. But that being said, he finally got rid of that moron. So,
maybe Bella Danger could be your new mascot down there with the Dolphins.
Hey, it'd be the most interesting thing seen in 30 fucking years down there.
I'll go to a Dolphin game. I'll dress in my Bills gear and go to a Dolphin game if I get to see a Bella Danger.
You gotta go.
Dolphin any day.
You got to go through Carson, though. I think
that's true. So
I'll whoop Carson's.
I'll
clip him in his knee. A three-legged table does nothing. It's not worth.
Well, let me ask you this, Kerry. Just wait till Tuesday if you don't mind, please.
Yeah,
and then you can have a Bella Danger. But with that being said, let me tell you something, guys. Some great games this weekend. I mean, that Bills-Jaguars game, what a war on the field. You know, the Bears coming back, Rocky. I was so happy for you, despite that slow start. But like you said, that's been like that year-round. And I'm going to say something. I owe the Panthers fans an apology, and I was watching that game with them there in North Carolina, and I felt so bad for them because I thought they were going to pull it off. I mean, despite them being like a 7 or 8 point dog, I mean, they played their asses off, but like you said, Kerry, 51 seconds was too much for Matt Stafford. Honestly, that was just too much. You know, and again, the Rams are still there, but I mean, you know, but looking out, what game other than your all's victories stood out to you? Because that Eagles 49ers game definitely lived up to the hype. I mean, just two contenders just slugging it out. And I still don't know how the Eagles didn't win it, but they didn't. And the 49ers are moving on. And unfortunately, Kittle had the bad injury, and he's done for a bit. So, yeah, it really is. But what stood out to you guys? In chat box, I'll catch up the chat box while these guys enlighten us of what stood out on Wildcard Weekend.
I was genuinely surprised. Y'all are going to laugh at me. I was genuinely surprised that the Texans were able to go into Pittsburgh. I really think Pittsburgh was going to win that game. But they came in there and they put their foot down on the Steelers. And C.J. Stroud played well, and it was a party here in Houston, by the way, that Monday night. And, Aaron Rodgers didn't have anything left in the tank, I guess. You know, he did what he could. But give credit to Houston going up there and taking that victory on Monday night.
I'm going to stay with the same game. And about as well as Houston's defense looked, I got to disagree with you on their offense. C.J. Stroud looked horrible. He had 3 turnovers. And the problem with that game is and Larry, I'm going to hate making you upset. But it was 7-6 going into the fourth quarter, and you actually had a chance to win that game. But then the turnovers came. But then the fumble came, the pick six came, and Houston's defense scored more than their offense. Not a good sign. To me, that's not a good sign going into this now. C.J. Stroud got away with the turnovers because you're facing Pittsburgh. He has the same game against New England Sunday. He ain't going to get away with 3 turnovers against New England. Not against Vrabel. They'll get blown. Even with that great defense, they'll get blown out of the building.
Yeah,
They will get blown out of the
know,
building if they don't get that. And
it's
now
a
Nico
big
Collins,
time.
there's a chance that Nico Collins may not play Sunday. And if
Right.
that's the case, they're really shorthanded at that point.
Well, and let me ask you this. This is an honest question from Anthony. When you guys hear that a franchise or see a franchise puts a letter on the line saying that they mutually parted ways with their head coach, is that just a polite way of saying that the franchise decided to fire their ass without saying they were fired? Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, it is.
19 years, you know, I mean, it's time to move on. You know, it was 18 years for Harbaugh. They did the stat, 18 years for Harbaugh. I think 19 years for Tomlin.
19 years for Tomlin. Yep.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, yeah, you know, it was time.
It was time.
It's time.
I guess the days are gone, or the Vince Lombardis, or the Landrys, or the Shulas for staying around for so long. You know, I mean, it just gets stale, and you have to be hip with the with it. But it's just a different game now than it was back then. Larry goes that they fired his ass. So
it's funny that you say the name Shula. One of the candidates for the Pittsburgh job happens to be the grandson of Don Shula, Chris, who's the defensive coordinator for the LA Rams, because they like to hire young guys. If you look at the last three coaches the Pittsburgh Steelers have hired, Chuck Noll was 35, Bill Cowher was 35, Mike Tomlin was 34. They do not hire old guys. They hire young guys because they don't fire anybody. They don't fire anybody. They give you time. They give you time to get your program in.
Hey,
I'm interested to see who they do hire. I'm interested.
I'm convinced, big game, that LFJ has a line into the front office of the Pittsburgh Steelers, giving them the business right now.
Well, who do you want? I want to know. I want to know.
Can I say this? Let me just tell you this before he answers, and I'll throw his chat up there. And I want to also, Rocky, Anthony has a question for you in regards to the Packers, even though that's your rival, but I'll get to his comment in a minute. To quote Larry right here, we don't want him, a.k.a. because it's after dark, Rebels, after 11 o'clock. Fuck no to that suggestion is what he was saying. But real quick, Anthony wants to know, can you guys explain to me what's wrong with these Packer fans blaming Jordan Love for that loss against the Bears when it was the damn defense that cost them the game? What's your thoughts being a Bears fan and you playing them 3 times already now, Rocky, and this one being the most important win of the 3?
Man, I don't know. It took me a couple of days to kind of process that whole game and really just the past few games for the Bears and really this whole season. I texted you about it, Stallion. I mean, the only thing I can come up with is this: Caleb Williams just won't be denied. That's about the best I've got. And there's just another gear he hits in the second half that he just puts the team on his back and he makes these plays. I mean, there was that 4th down throw that he had to Odunze at the corner. I mean, if he doesn't make that throw, the game's over.
Yeah,
you know, and he's got somebody on his back foot trying to drag him down, and he just makes an unbelievable throw to keep them alive.
Running to his left, throwing across his body, and a perfect throw,
right on the money. And as far you know, and I think if one more thing, Stallion, I think if I'm honest with myself, maybe it got in their head, in the Packers' head a little bit. They did the same thing at Soldier Field, where they dropped the special teams onside kick, and they blew a game. They got out to another big lead, and they sat on it. And look, no points in the second half, 6 points or whatever it was, 7, and that was it. And you can't let Caleb Williams. You got to keep scoring versus Caleb Williams. But that said, I'm still dumbfounded about my Bears, and we'll get into that as we go further.
Well, can I also throw this out there? I'll say this much for Caleb Williams, if I can speak, being somebody that has no dog in this fight whatsoever. If this is the year of who got disrespected last year, and you know, whether you want to throw Indiana and Mendoza in that conversation or you want to throw Carson Beck in Miami in that conversation, why don't you throw the Bears and Caleb Williams in that conversation now that we're going to the professional ranks? Because everybody was just ridiculing, why did you take Caleb Williams? He's a head case. He cried on the sidelines at USC. He paints his fingernails. There's this other thing about you know, the fact that Jaden Daniels was doing so great with the Commanders, and that's the real guy that should have been going number 1. You talk about taking all of that and just giving everybody the biggest fuck you of all time. And hats off to the guy, honestly. And he's gonna have to be killed for the Bears to lose. And the way he's playing, I mean, he almost led them back against the 49ers a couple weeks ago, guys.
And one more thing before I throw it to you, big game. Hats off to whatever the hell Dennis Allen told that defense at halftime.
Agreed.
Whatever he said.
Whatever he said.
Had to.
Bottle that up and put it on a shelf and sell it.
Because at that point it would have been 42 points allowed instead of 21. You know, I mean, come on, they did great, so they stepped up. So, yeah, let me just Larry does have an answer for you guys real quick. Clint Kubiak with Flores as defensive coordinator. And then his answer to Anthony's question, Packers lost because they drafted Aaron Rodgers in the league. That's why they lost. The Steelers lost and the Jets were ass. Rodgers is a bum. So
he's also mad, too, because Aaron won his only Super Bowl against the Steelers in Dallas.
That is true also. I hate that State Farm representative. So, yeah. Well, the one thing I didn't have to hear Stephen A. Smith say Tuesday morning was, he's a bad man, or he's a bad dude.
He got lit up. He got lit up like a bad man.
Now he's retired. So.
You talk about that throw that Caleb Williams made. The only throw that I would put above that on that weekend was the throw that Josh Allen made on 1st and 10 with less than 2 minutes to go with a free runner about to take his head off his back foot. Throws it 50 yards to a wide open Brandon Cooks between three people. That was impressive too, man.
I am glad you did bring that up. He did demand 45% of the ownership. I forgot about that too. There was a lot of that. I forgot about that. So, but let me tell you something. If he goes on this run, I'm sure Rocky would be one of the first Bears fans to say, yeah, sure, give him 45% of the damn team at this point or whatever like that. If he brings a Super Bowl for the first time, and what would it be? 39 years? Would it be 39 years?
41 and
41.
Bears.
41.
My bad. One better. I'll do you one better. There could be a rematch brewing. Could be a rematch.
Right.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be something? Bears and Patriots. Bears and Patriots. It could be.
Yeah.
Bears and Patriots. It could be. That'd be interesting. So,
that would be very
well, let me just ask you this real quick. Anthony says that he's making a prediction. He sounds crazy, but he thinks Sullivan's going to be the new Dolphins GM, and his connection with the Packers.
He is the new GM.
And so Harbaugh goes to the Packers. You never know. So,
you never know.
So, yeah. The Bears didn't win a championship with Orlando. They lost to Peyton Manning in that game. They did. A hell of a Super Bowl too. That was a hell of a Super Bowl. But let me go to the games this week. Well, let's look ahead. I mean, obviously, Kerry, your Bills bring the start of it at 4:30, and I like how the games are going to be played this time. It's going to be a little bit weird because usually it's NBC and ESPN that have the Saturday game, with Fox and CBS traditionally having the Sunday game, and they flipped them this year. So that's going to be interesting.
I like it too.
I do like it. But I have argued, and this is what I said. Are the favorites in trouble? And more so, I mean, is the same rule going to apply because you had the bye in the Broncos and the Seahawks, like what happened in the college football playoff, because these teams had a game under their belt? Or are both these teams going to be well rested after the battles the teams they are playing just happen to be in? That's my thoughts on this or what have you. So, yeah.
No, I think the favorites are in trouble. Especially the Saturday night game with the 49ers and the Seahawks. This is the third time they face each other, the second time in the last 3 weeks. Yeah, there's a lot of familiarity. No Kittle for them. That hurts San Francisco because not only his pass catching ability, his blocking ability. That just puts more on Christian McCaffrey, Jawan Jennings, who played a hell of a game in Philadelphia the last week, throwing that touchdown.
That's Shane's favorite player. That's Shane's favorite player too, from Blackman High School here in Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. So
people forget when he was recruited as a quarterback, he's in the same class that time as Lamar Jackson, as Joe Burrow. He was in that recruiting class with those guys. A lot of people forget that fact.
Yeah.
Can I also? Oh, go ahead, Rocky. Go ahead, Rocky.
I was gonna say I was gonna respectfully disagree with my colleague there. In the NFL, when you have home field advantage in the NFL in the playoffs, to me that's everything. whether you play the first game or not. You know, if you're able to get the bye in the NFL, that gives your team time to get healthy. That gives you more scouting time in the first game to see how they play it and what the matchups are. I don't know how the hell, to me, I guess going backwards to your first question, everybody from Philadelphia, the entire staff should be fired for that loss. I don't know how the hell the 49ers got out of that game with a win.
Except for Vic Fangio. His defense actually played well.
And I think Kevin Picola was his name.
Patula.
I think he got fired today. I'm pretty sure I read that.
He should have been fired right after the game went 0-0, to be honest with you. I'm going to throw this out there, though, too. That's something that stands out to me, and I could be wrong, man. Christian McCaffrey, if the 49ers somehow go the path of Miami, that they had to go on the road 3 weeks to have a home game for the championship, there's really weird, eerie similarities of how things like this play out. But damn, McCaffrey, I mean, I think he's just going to do anything he can to win that fucking Super Bowl. I think, this guy is going to have to just put this team on his back. And if there's anybody that I could put it on to do that, is that guy. That guy's got a heart of a lion. But that being said, there's a lot to be said. That there's a lot on Bo Nix, and to a lesser extent, what's his name, the quarterback for the Seahawks. It just escapes my head.
Sam Darnold.
Darnold.
If anything, right now, Josh Allen is the veteran of this group, Kerry, and this is high tailored for him to have his crowning moment, a baby on the way, and could he finally get that Super Bowl without the Ravens and the Chiefs in his way at this point? I mean,
with this matchup with Denver, people need to remember they faced each other last year in the wild card round in Buffalo. These teams are exactly the same. Buffalo beat them by 30. If they don't adjust, Denver's offense has struggled coming into the playoffs because their last game was 2 weeks ago against the Charger backups. They only scored 19.
We're on the same page, big game.
On the Chargers backups, they only scored 19 points. That's not going to get it done against Buffalo. They're not going to be able to hold Buffalo, I think, under 24. They cannot win. I don't think they can get into a shootout with Buffalo and expect to win. They have to somehow keep Buffalo under 24 points. That's their ticket to victory.
I agree.
Kerry, to use my history or what have you, what's very eerie about this Buffalo Bills team, they remind me of your 92 squad that, yes, they lost to the Cowboys, but they had to go on the road 3 straight weeks. They had to come back from that Houston Oilers thing where everybody thought they were done. They came back. Then they beat the Steelers on the road. Sorry, Larry. And then they kill my Dolphins in the AFC Championship game that was supposed to be Dan Marino's, next Super Bowl. Not saying they were going to win it, but everybody was thinking it'd be the Cowboys and the Dolphins. And there were the Bills that just absolutely blew the Dolphins out on that AFC Championship Sunday, 29-10. I cried my eyes out as an 8-year-old. But the truth of the matter is that the Bills right now have an advantage over the teams left, in my opinion, in the AFC. They've shown the Texans the door the last couple of years. They've also, in my opinion, beaten the Patriots. And the thing is credit to Mike Vrabel, though. You know how I feel about the Patriots. We all do, but at the same time, they're there. I mean, they're there. And it just seems to me that it's going to be a Bills versus Patriots AFC East Championship with the winner going to the Super Bowl. And I can't believe it. That's just incredible to me. So the Patriots, not so much the Bills, the Patriots, but I got to go with the Bills because that was my pick at the beginning of the year, them or the Ravens. Go ahead, Kerry.
And my point, and I go back to the point of home field advantage. Yes, it's great to have, but you got to take advantage of it because last weekend, 4 of the 6 winners were the road team.
Very true.
And in a crazy NFL season, and this has been a crazy NFL season.
Yeah, it has.
The 4 teams on the road could all win Sunday. The 4 home teams could win on Sunday. It's going to be a mix. I say it's going to be 2 road teams, 2 home teams win this weekend.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that in a second.
Sunday, and I think the games on Sunday are going to be so telling. You're going to have one game, which I think is going to be a defensive war with Houston and New England. I don't expect the winner, whoever gets to maybe 17 or 21st, probably wins that game. And with Chicago and the Rams, whoever gets the 35 probably first wins that game. because that's going to be an offensive show in Chicago.
Rocky, what's the weather going to be like Sunday night in Chicago? That's what I was wanting to see. That's what I was wanting to see, because that could be something for the Rams. I don't know. So then the Colts.
I'll hold my comments. I'll hold my comments. Go ahead, Sty.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that. I mean, like I said, I'm intrigued. I mean, there is, let me just tell you this. I enjoyed this past wildcard weekend. If we said that the story for the college football season at the beginning of the year was going to be, it's open for anybody. Well, we had the favorites, and we picked some that faltered and some that actually lived up to the hype. With all the teams that we named at the beginning of the year, the Bills are the only team, no offense, Rocky, at this point, that we named. I mean, we had the Lions, we had the Commanders maybe having another good season with Jaden coming back. I mean, we talked about the Vikings possibly being a team, but nobody had, but the Bills were the AFC along with the Chiefs and the Ravens and blah, blah, blah.
Caleb Williams in year 2 with a new head coach and a bunch of rookies making plays out there. Are you kidding me?
I actually had Chicago as the 7th playoff team.
Did you really? Okay.
I did, because I thought they'd be a 9-8 team that made the playoffs as the 7th spot.
And they went into
I did not expect 11 wins.
And they went into that training camp with some drama. I don't know if you remember that.
They had a lot of drama. They had a lot of drama. They had a lot of drama.
Degrees. Fuck that. And that cold wind off of Lake Michigan. Oh my God.
Ben Johnson
it's like 5 degrees.
I think the coach of the year voting this year, the NFL is going to be the toughest one, because you have so many coaches that are qualified to win. Ben Johnson is high on the list. Vrabel is high on the list. Yeah. Kyle Shanahan is high on the list. I mean, they've lost more games to injury than any other. They've lost 78 games to injury. The next closest is 30. And yet San Francisco is 2 wins away from hosting the Super Bowl with all of the injuries. That is an incredible job by Kyle Shanahan.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, guys.
Seattle.
If we can go back to the results from last weekend, I know we were doing Stallion Speaks, Rocky, you, me, and Larry, and we had a great show. When I went back and watched that Patriots game, I couldn't believe the margin of victory. I thought the Chargers would do a little fucking better than that, but they did awful. They were terrible.
That offensive line. That offensive line for the Chargers, it finally came back to bite them. No left tackle, no right tackle. That's what's going to happen eventually.
They had Justin Herbert hobbling by the end of that.
Yeah. I'm surprised he made it out. I'm surprised he made it outstanding, because he took a beating.
Can I say this? And as for as much shit as the Patriots defense got for what they don't have or whatever, they sure have fucking stepped up and I hate to admit it, but damn it, they've stepped up when they've needed to. And it's just like they're just hanging around, I mean, every time, guys. I mean, you think they're dead, and there they are, I mean,
now this game with Houston they got Sunday afternoon is going to be an absolute war.
And what's the weather up there? 8 degrees in Boston?
Yeah,
what's that going to be?
It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold.
Harbaugh is ass, both of them.
They're going to be.
And throw Tom Crean in there, too. Fuck him, too, when he coached at Indiana in basketball, the brother-in-law.
Yeah, he works at ESPN. Too. He still works at ESPN. Tom Crean.
Well, let me ask you this. Since we're getting close to the end here and so forth of that nature. Kerry, I do want to just say this, the fact that, you do have your big games. I mean, which one, what are you liking? I mean, here you've got 5 fire games, 4 in the pros, 1 in college. I mean, which would be your big game of the week? All of them, or is there one that stands out a little bit more than the others? What would be your big games at this point? So
all of them stand out, but my big game would be the college national championship, because, like I said, you got 2 styles, and these styles clash. This is going to be a fun game because you got 2 contrasting styles, and it's going to be a hell of a battle. This is going to be a hell of a battle to see which style dictates the temp. Who is going to be comfortable and who's not going to be comfortable? That's what it's going to come down to. Which line is going to cause problems? And on paper, and from what we've seen so far, if you had a casual fan just look at both, you're going to say Miami's going to cause problems. It's going to cause a lot of problems because they're just physical, they're fast, they're strong. Indiana's going to bring something to the table. This is a great battle human chess is going to be employed in this game. Whoever plays the best move is going to win this game. And I think right now, I look at it. This game's going to be what's the over under 47?
47, 48.
Yeah, 47.
I say it's going to be under that. I don't see this thing getting crazy high scoring unless there's a lot of turnovers. Unless there's like a pick. Let's say there's like a pick six
or a scoop and score,
pump
block,
something special. Yeah, I don't see this thing getting over that because it's going to be a great game. This is going to be a fun game.
Well, let me ask you this, and chat box is still hopping too. Let me ask you this. Do you want to go to They Stink or do you want to do predictions? What do you want to do first?
It's up to you. We could do either one.
Either one. Doesn't matter.
Either one? All right. Let's do this. Yeah. We'll do predictions and then we'll finish up with They Stink on a laughter, okay? So let's do predictions. We'll go the NFL games first. Let's do Bills at Broncos. Listen, I've rolled with the Bills since the beginning of the year. I know that they've had some mishaps, but let me just tell you this. The regular season is to navigate just to get to the playoffs and determine whether you got home field or not. The Bills took a little bit of a different path. And in my opinion, like I said, they remind me of that 92 squad. The only thing is, no disrespect to who's left on the NFC, there's not a Cowboys team there with Aikman with 4 Hall of Famers, multiple Hall of Famers, actually, because you got to think about Leon Lett, Nate Newton, Charles Haley, those guys, too, that weren't the skill players. But I'm talking about the fact is that this Bills team looks like they're on a mission. And look, the Broncos, I think, have been a very interesting story. Credit to what, the job that Sean Payton's done there and everything of that nature. But the truth of the matter is, give me the Bills, and I think the Bills win pretty handily. Give me them by 2 touchdowns, and I could be wrong on Saturday, but I like the Bills big in that first game. So, yeah, very handily.
Every time you mentioned Leon Lett, that's a great story to me because Thanksgiving game in 1993, the Miami Dolphins played there, and I won $1,000 because Leon Lett touched the ball after a blocked field goal, which gave Miami a second chance and won the game. I won $1,000 because of his stupidity. That's one of the happiest moments of my life.
Kerry, can I tell you a funny story? Rocky, you'd appreciate this too. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she passed away yesterday, would be 15 years, if you can believe that. So this is going to be a story for my tata who helped raise me. My Puerto Rican grandmother was a Hurricanes fan. I shared a picture of her. One of the last birthdays, she had a Miami hat on and put her little number 1 up. And she actually was so funny because she never could say they suck. So because of her Spanish, she'd always say in English, they stink or whatever. So it's kind of funny that we do the they stink. And nearly it was 2 pair that came up with that. But I was thinking it's kind of funny. Cool. But to go with that Leon Lett story, we had actually just moved up here from Miami. We flew her up here to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas with us because she would have been alone down there with us not living there. And we're watching that Dolphins game, and she couldn't say Stoyanovich. So you know what she said? She said, son of a biche, missed the damn kick or whatever like that. And she said, he stinks. Son of a biche missed it. So then he gets another one, and then I said, son of a biche made it. So every time Pete Stoyanovich ever did a kick, I'd always think of my tata and say, son of a biche is ready to fucking kick the ball or whatever, son of a biche. But yeah. And that motherfucker had 2 babes on his left and right shoulder all the time down in Miami at the club. You talk about a stud down there. That guy. Stud. I mean, he was an asshole, but yeah, he was a ladies' man down there. But son of a biche. But I just wanted to add that story as a joke.
That's
but Rocky, who do you guys got? Bills or Broncos? I'm sorry to
some big game. Here we go, man. Bills or Broncos? Who's it gonna be? Let me turn my wheel of fortune over here and see where does it land.
Spin the wheel.
I'm gonna go. Even though I made the homecoming, I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills. I say the Bills go to Denver and get it done. I think Josh Allen's too much for the Broncos. Sean Payton and Bo Nix have had a great year, but I think the Bills take it. I'm kind of like Stallion. I think the Bills are on a mission to try to get back to a Super Bowl. So I like the Bills in this one.
Yeah. I like the Bills in this one too, but I think Josh Allen will not have to do the heavy lift, and I believe James Cook will have a terrific game. He'll have a better game this week than he had last week. Jacksonville, I give Jacksonville a lot of credit. Yeah. Their run defense is really good.
Tough.
They play I think we played maybe the best team in the AFC last week in Jacksonville. And getting that win, I think they go to Denver, and people are worried about Buffalo going up there in the altitude. Josh Allen played at Wyoming, which is about 2,000 feet higher. He ain't worried about that. I think Buffalo wins 31-24 in a really good ball game. I think James Cook's the star is more of a star in this game than Josh Allen. Josh Allen will deliver in the fourth quarter, but I think James Cook and the opportunistic defense keeps him there, and then they get it done 31-24. I like them winning and going to the AFC Championship game.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. So, going to that Seahawks 49ers game, listen, I love me Christian McCaffrey. That guy is probably one of my favorite players. He helped win me this fantasy football league this past year that I've been trying 9 years to do. And but I'll just say this much. I just can't go against the Seahawks, especially with how well Seattle played on defense 2 weeks ago. And now without Kittle, that's going to make it harder. I've got to go with the Seahawks, but I hope that the 49ers win for my guy Brad and also for McCaffrey. But listen, if I'm picking because I want to win, they have to prove that they can beat the Seahawks, and they just didn't look good to me 2 weeks ago. And again, it might be different stakes this time, but in the friendly confines of Safeco up there in the Dome, give me Seattle. So,
go ahead, Big Game.
I look at this game. It's going to be a tough physical game. It's going to be like the previous two. I like Seattle in this game. I like I love their defense. And Sam Darnold, I think, will not have to make the mistake, because I think Seattle's running game and their defense will be the difference. And I think they win in a close, low-scoring game. I believe it's going to be 2017. I don't think it gets higher than that. I think 2017 is right in that neighborhood. And that's the way these two teams have played all year. San Fran won the first one opening day in Seattle. Seattle got the one 2 weeks ago, and I think Seattle gets this one, like I said, 20-17. I like a close one. Close, low-scoring game.
I consider it a minor miracle that San Francisco got out of Philadelphia with a win.
Yeah.
The chagrin to the Eagles for not taking care of that as defending Super Bowl champs. I tried to get them out last week because I still think they're too hurt. They're going up to the Pacific Northwest, where Sam Darnold has had one hell of a year with Cooper Kupp and the rest of them. The defense is playing lights out. I mean, San Francisco is a really good team, and Shanahan's done miracles this year, but not too much from Seattle. They win it at home. They take it something like 23-10, 23-13.
Yeah.
I like Seattle's running game too. I think the Walker and Charbonnet, I mean they're pretty, or Charbonnet, they're pretty awesome, man. And then you got Nigba on the outside. Jeez, I mean what an offense. And then the defense, I like the humbleness of the defense. They said the job's not done yet. Don't compare us to the group that ultimately stymied Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl. The Legion of Boom. They said we need to win a Super Bowl before we're even on that, and I love that they know that's the standard. So I like that about that team, and they respect the history there too. That's awesome. So going to Sunday's games, Texans at Patriots. I mean, let me just tell you this. The Texans were kind of left for dead at the beginning of the year, the way they started. But, it's what they say. It's how you're playing at the end of the year. And then this job that Vrabel has done, and Drake May, I mean, damn it, the Patriots have gotten themselves another one, guys. I hate to say it. And I saw this guy carve us up at North Carolina. And realistically, I've got to go with the Patriots. Again, I would love to see the Texans kind of take care of it, but I just don't think that they've got the firepower to hang with the Patriots. And up there in that cold, give me Vrabel to outcoach Houston's coach. So that's where I'm going. I'm going with the Patriots, unfortunately.
Hear you.
Go ahead, Rock.
Yeah. Fuck the Patriots. Fuck Vrabel. Fuck their fans. Fuck those motherfuckers. I can't stand those bastards. Fuck them all. Hate the Patriots. But they're going to win this game. They're going to beat Houston. You're at home. They're at home. Your defense is playing well. I mean, I got to pick to win, so give me the Patriots to win at home and advance to the AFC Championship game to take on your Bills. Big game.
Hey, real quick, who's tougher? Who's tougher, a New York Italian or a Boston Italian?
New York Italian.
New York Italian.
Off-
New York Italian. Oh, hell yeah. New York Italian. Hell yeah.
It's
Much
great at a
tougher.
baseball game. Go ahead, Kerry. Who you got? The Patriots? I know how you feel about them, but
Yeah, I
go
know.
for
As much
it,
as
brother.
I hate the Patriots, I think being at home in this game is the difference. If this game was in Houston, I would go with Houston because they would have the crowd and everything with their advantage. This game's in Foxborough. I like New England. As much as I hate to say it, I have to go with New England for the simple reason they're at home. And I think if CJ Stroud doesn't have a better performance than what he had in a game against Pittsburgh, it's not going to be pretty how this is going to end, because New England will actually take advantage of those mistakes and score points on them, where Pittsburgh couldn't score points. And that, to me, was the difference in that game, and that'll be the difference in this game.
Can I throw this out there? I really don't have a lot of hatred towards Robert Kraft, and I'll tell you why. He showed me a good time paying for that massage down there to Florida. That was fun. The camera wasn't on mine, and he was so nice that he let me have the other room that did get busted by the fence. So that's how I got away with it that time, or whatever.
So he got the happy ending, and you got the shaft.
Yeah, pretty much. He got arrested, and I just slipped out the back door. I was fine. So there we go. So yeah, I don't have that much hate for Robert. So, but anyway, and then finally the other game, the Sunday night cap, that I just think is just going to be amazing. The Rams at the Bears. Rocky, I'm going to go with your Bears at this point because I think that they send Matt Stafford to be a dad or whatever like that once and for all to his girls or what have you. And I got the Bears winning that game and setting up a 1 versus 2. I think where the chalk holds, and it's going to be the Seahawks and the Bears on NFC Championship Sunday in Seattle next week. So, yeah.
Go ahead, big game.
It's going to be a great game. Going to be a lot of fun. You got Matthew Stafford, an all-time great, going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer at some point when it's all said and done. You got Sean McVay over there, one of the best coaches in the game. What an offensive game this is going to be. Two great minds with McVay and Ben Johnson. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. This is going to be the kind of fun. And it's cold on a Sunday night in Chicago. The atmosphere is – you thought the atmosphere last Saturday was electric. It's going to be even more so this Sunday. They're going to party hard in Chicago. Monday being a holiday, they got the parade Monday in Chicago, the Martin Luther King parade and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. It's a big weekend in Chicago. I like the Bears. And it wouldn't surprise me if this game went overtime. I think both these teams are going to score between 27 and 31, 35 points. And it's going to be decided in overtime. I really believe. I think the running game, I think whoever makes the fewest mistakes, and I actually think Chicago could get off to if they get off to a better start, this game could be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
But if Chicago doesn't get off to a great start, here's what we do know.
That's the problem.
They're a second half football team, and the Rams corners they have small corners and small safeties. Chicago's receivers could take huge advantage, and I think the matchup problem in this game is Colston Loveland against that Ram defense, the linebackers and the safeties. I think
who McVay wanted to draft, by the way. That's a little nugget.
And we're about to find out why McVay wanted to draft, because he is a matchup problem. He was all over the field Saturday. Green Bay couldn't stop him. And I don't think the Rams are going to be able to stop him. And I think he's going to be the difference in this game. And that's why I like the Bears in a close one. And even wouldn't surprise me if they went overtime. But Colston Loveland, that kid's a stud.
Can I throw this out there? Can I throw this out there, Rocky? When I do fantasy football every year, and please don't take this the wrong way, there were certain teams that I would stay away with from certain players because of the team that they were affiliated with. And I would stay away from Bears players. I think my strategy – But my strategy this year,
but I can understand you don't want to pick a fantasy player that's playing in that division because they got to play some tough defenses.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But with Ben Johnson, man, with the way that guy can strategize and he can draft guys and get the best out of them, and if they make some moves, whether this doesn't go all the way for them or not, they ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And I think that if you, like my boy Kenton and you're both Canes and Bears fans. This is going to be a great time for you guys after all the years you've suffered having to, keep waiting, that I don't think the Bears are going anywhere, in my opinion, win or lose this game. But go ahead, Rocky, with your pick. But I'm just going to say I'm going to be looking at some Bears players for fantasy football next year. Go ahead, though. So,
you hit the nail on the head, Stallion. As Canes fans, we talk about this game coming up in the national championship game where we've suffered for 23 years. Well, switching gears to the NFL, as a Bears fan, it's been forever. We had the one-off Super Bowl where we went to Miami, with Rex Grossman and Devin Hester returning all those kicks with Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs. And we had a good year, and we had the one-off.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Lovey. Yeah, Lovey coaching. Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with both you guys. This game scares me to death.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. At least you're in Chicago, though. At least you're at home, though. At least you're at home.
I wanted the 49ers, man. I didn't want the Rams.
Oh, I know you did. I know you did.
Here's why. That Chicago Bears defense, and for all the good they did in the second half, we also saw how bad they were in the first. They couldn't stop a freaking nosebleed. They couldn't stop tissue paper going through, and that's bad. I almost wish we could start this game midway through the third quarter with 6 minutes left.
There you go. There you go.
13, and just say, okay, Caleb, go get it, because that's probably where this is going to end up, because it's been like that all year with this team. And I still cannot figure out, for the love of God, why. Because they've got all the talent in the world, and it's like they turn it on late, and it gives us all as Bears fans a heart attack, because in the first half we're all chewing everybody out and saying this team is garbage, and then all of a sudden they flip a switch some kind of way and pull it out. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, how long can they keep this up? Like, that's my worry with this team in this game, because Stafford and them can score points, and a lot of points. Now, we just came back from 21-6. Can we come back from 31-3 or 31-10? I mean, that is my waking thought. Talk about, I'm not gonna lose sleep over the national title game on Sunday, but I'm gonna lose sleep Saturday night worrying about this damn game on Sunday whenever we take on the Rams, because the Rams have a great offense. And look, as great as this season has been for a Bears fan like me, that's been a fan since the 80s, and I love my Bears, man. I can't pick against my team. I can't pick against my team. Look, here's what's gonna happen again. Caleb Williams is gonna figure some kind of way to pull this thing out again. And it's probably going to look, big game, the same way it's looked all year, because that's all they've done all year long. That's all they've done. Yeah. And I just don't see this one being any different. Give me the Bears by 7, and you're right, maybe in overtime. Very possibly in overtime. But Rocky, man, this game scares me to death. Terrifying.
My brother Rocky, what you told me with 10 minutes to go last week when I had given up hope against Ole Miss, hang with them. Stay with them. That's what I'm going to say with you. Man. Go on the sword and go with them, man, because they've gotten to this far, honestly.
And the fact, one more thing, big game, you're right. Colston Loveland's an amazing player, right? Great, fantastic player, matchup problem. But you know what he also is? He's a rookie. And now here we are sitting there in the divisional playoff game, going up against Sean McVay and the Rams, who's been there before. Look, I'm gonna be like this on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be.
I just think that cold off of Lake Michigan and those rabid Bear fans that have been starving for 41 years, man, or if you want to even go that 2007 year, let's just. I think it'd be a different story if it was.
Let me go down. I don't mean to prolong this, but let me go down the list. No T.J. Edwards, no Noah Sewell. Kyler Gordon's playing on one leg. Yep. Jalen Johnson, who came back into the lineup, still hasn't fully. He's playing better, but he hasn't fully acclimated himself. There is no pass rush, none on that defense. Montez Sweat sucks. He's been horrible.
Yep.
And what they pulled off against the Packers. I mean, Dennis Allen pulled off these blitzing schemes from the back and took a lot of chances to get back into that game against Jordan Love. And that's probably what he's going to have to happen again. Just, you know what I can't wait for? Last thing, and I'll quit. I can't wait to get I can't wait to get to the off season and see what Ryan Poles does to retool this team.
Agree.
That's what I'm looking forward
to. And that's what I was going to say. And Kerry, real quick before we move on to the championship game in college football to pick real quick and then go to They Stink, I just want to leave it with this. I think that's what separates why Ben Johnson should win the Coach of the Year, rookie, or whatever it is. And I'm going to say this much. For what he has done and gotten out of this team with the shortcomings that you just named off, Rocky, I mean, hats off to him, man. Fuck. Yeah. Like that's like a dude. You talk about, for all the credit and everything that is given to Cignati, at least you got some guys that, have played. I mean, he has taken something and a team that has not won for a long time and made them believe. And that's all I'm going to leave.
That secondary all year has been a patchwork.
They'll attack that in the draft. I can see them attacking that in the draft. Get some, because this is going to be a good draft for secondary, for receivers, for that bit. But I'm going to tell you what, with Ben Johnson, you got the right man.
We do.
You've got the right man.
And I want Bain or Messidor in a Bears uniform next year.
Hey. And it might happen.
It might happen. How we get them.
They've got camp room and they've got maneuverability. It could happen. But you got the right man. I like Ben. I've always liked Ben Johnson. I respect the hell out of him. That dude is passionate. He knows what he's doing. I love the locker room scenes at the end of the games and when he takes his shirt off and he says, "Fuck the Packers." I love that stuff.
Oh, that's great.
I love that.
It beats that idiot Eberflus who was having drinks with him at the Marquette game. Yep. I don't know if y'all saw a picture. That's so much better.
It's how we were. It's how we were in the late '80s and early '90s when we used to say "fuck the Dolphins," "fuck the Patriots," "fuck the Jets." Especially contrary to popular belief, we hate the Jets more than anybody in the division because they've always considered us like we're on the other side of the state. They act like they're royalty, yet they've done nothing since 1969. They've been the continuous dumpster fire in sports since 1969. I
mean, they suck. They fucking stink. They do. Before we even get, they fucking stink. So yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So now we'll get to the national title game. The game at the Rock. Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner, Columbus grad from Miami, comes home to play Miami. Monday the 19th on Martin Luther King's birthday. In observance of that, it's serious business, guys. I mean,
it is.
I mean, listen, I'm going to go first. I'll give. I just want to say this. Anybody that's still with us or whoever watches this, tune into Stallion Speaks on Sunday night because I am going to give a Canes gospel. Whether you like Miami or you hate Miami, you'll just want to tune in. To quote Lane Kiffin, grab your popcorn. But that being said, I think Indiana is a phenomenal team. They're very well coached. They're not there just because of whatever. They're going to hit Miami. Miami's going to hit them back. And I just think that with about, as the seconds tick down, Mario Cristobal, ironically, on Martin Luther King's birthday, will be officially the first minority head coach to win a college football national championship, being Cuban immigrant. And I believe that Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes will win by 7 points. And I'm only going by 7 because I think when the kickoff happens, Indiana will still be about a 7-point favorite. I think that 8.5 drops to 7 going into the game time. And just like what happened with the Ohio State, that Ohio State was 10-point favorites. I think Miami wins by 10. With Indiana being a 7-point favorite going into that game, I think Miami wins by 7, but it's going to be close and give me like a 24-17 final score, and you're under that 47. That's the over/under and whatever. But that's what I got. Big game, Kerry, Rocky, whoever wants to go next.
Go ahead, big game.
That's my score too. I believe Indiana is a fantastic story. Fantastic story. Great for college football. It proves that with NIL, you could be at the bottom one bit and get to the top in a year, couple years. Their story, their rise to prominence has been absolutely phenomenal. Miami's rise coming back from the dead, in a lot of people's eyes from the dead, is probably going to be the greatest story. And like you said, on Martin Luther King Day, it's only going to be fitting that a Cuban national, that an immigrant, is going to be a national champion head coach. I like the same score as you. Miami 24, Indiana 17, in what's going to go down, I believe, as an all-time classic national championship game. I love the game. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think both fan bases are going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be back and forth, but I think the game being in Miami is worth the 7 points, and that's why I like Miami. If this game was anywhere else, it's a closer game, and I actually would lean towards Indiana, but the fact that this is down in Miami, it seems like it's destiny. From the beginning of this playoffs, from the last team in to the last one standing. Miami 24, Indiana 17. The Hurricanes are back on top of the world as national champions. For Howard Schnellenberger, for Jimmy Johnson, for Dennis Erickson, for Larry Coker, for those guys that paved the way, for all those coaches, for the great players, the Highsmiths, the Blades, the Irvins, all of those great players. Mario himself was an All-American at Miami. All of those great players get back on top. This is what college football is about. It's about bringing all of that tradition and merging it in today. And that's what I want to see. Miami will be this year's national champion. And get ready, college football. Miami's not going anywhere. Win or lose, they're going to be contenders for the next 10 to 15 years. The way NIL is, the way everything else, they're going to be around again. And it's all legal this time. There won't be no part 4 or 5. It's all legal this time. I even think old Luther Campbell is going to show up with 2 life.
They're bitching about that.
Throw the D. Throw the D.
7.
And that should be the theme song coming out of the tunnel. Me so horny coming out of the tunnel.
Me so horny. That's exactly it. So shoot.
7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida. Mario Cristobal, who grew up blocks away from the University of Miami, that used to take his bicycle and ride his bicycle to Green Tree to go watch practices. I think it was Schnellenberger that he watched practices under, with 2 Cuban American immigrants that came over on the boat, all right, to get over to America for a better life, that came over with nothing. Okay. Jimmy Johnson giving him and his brother the chance of a lifetime with a scholarship to the University of Miami, with all of those players he had at that time. Jimmy taking a chance on the Cristobal brothers. Okay. And giving them that opportunity at the University of Miami that they so longed for, to give Mario Cristobal a chance to become that All-American under Dennis Erickson after Jimmy Johnson left. To progress from there, okay, being the All-American, through the coaching ranks as a GA, taking on the FIU program that was nowhere. Absolutely, they didn't even have a weight room. Their weight room was an old classroom, like one of those old portable buildings that they had to load all of the desks out just to put.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Just to put weights in there, so they had weights for the kids to lift, and then go and get Ty Hilton, recruiting him away from all the big boys to come to FIU. That was his first major big recruiting win. To go from that to move back to Miami as a GA. Then to make his trips around to Alabama and so forth, back to Oregon, and then to get called back to Miami after we've had 23 years of complete shit, from Shannon to Golden to Rick had his little jaunt, then to Manny stupid ass Diaz. That was the worst thing that ever happened.
What about the ass hat? What about the ass hats of Hocut and Eccles and the other buffoons?
Oh God!
All of it. All of
they were awful. The athletic directors
going through all of that, and then to get Mario back in there, and to come in for him to lose to Middle Tennessee State University in his first year, and get laughed out of the building, and him being so pissed off. Remember that, Stallion? Remember that post-game conference? He was about to go through a brick fucking wall. He was pissed. To have to go out to Reuben Bain in the parking lot and say, hey, it's not going to be this way, bud. Trust me. And then the trust that he had to build with those recruiting classes, through these past 3 years, plus working the portal the way he has, taking 20 guys for basically for the past 2 or 3 years to try to build this roster to where it is to get to the position that we are today. Like you said, big game, and now it's reality. Now we're here. And now at 7:30 p.m. on Monday night, for the weight of the legends to crash down on Hard Rock Stadium
for the world to see, with Indiana, the upstart Indiana program that hadn't done this in 150 years, or I don't know if ever. Yep.
The basketball school that Kirk Signetti built from nothing coming in here, that is supposed to be the big juggernaut. For Mario Cristobal, after all I just described, to lose that game would be sacrilegious. Are you crazy? There is no way the University of Miami is losing this football game at home at Hard Rock in front of his fans in his hometown with his team. Give me the Canes by 14, 31-17.
Wow. There you go. There you go. So,
there is one other piece of history. If Indiana was to win this game, they would be the first school in the history of college athletics to have an undefeated football team and have the last undefeated basketball team back in 1976 to win titles. They would be the first school ever.
Yeah, and that's 50 years. That was 76. Was that 76 or 74?
That was 76. That's 50.
There's something about 6. The only reason I'm picking Miami with this 6 and 26 and the Sean Taylor thing, and I do want to add one more thing. One more thing I do want to add, and I'll elaborate more on Sunday because I don't want to take up too much more time. But I'm going to be in tears one way or the other. The fact that if this is a dream, guys, I don't want it to end, because the truth of the matter is that, as Rocky said, and you've even said, Kerry, not even being a Miami fan, but you being a college football fan, historian, who saw growing up and everything like that. It's just incredible that it's taken this long. And, as a Tennessee fan, since 98, and a lot, I was talking to Brad today at work, and, him being a Tennessee fan, he still, secretly has like a certain clothing that he wore the night in Fiesta Bowl when they beat Florida State. And he's like, sometimes I wear it hoping that there's still some magic to get back to that. And I just want to live in this moment. And that's what makes me so mad about certain Miami fans. And I'm not going to question who's a Miami fan and who's not. God knows everybody's tried to throw their shit at me and my negativity. And it's like, no, it's not negativity. It's accountability, because I know what looks good and what doesn't look good. Exactly. And it wasn't looking good. And now this is starting to look the way that it needs to. And nobody's worked harder than Cristobal. I'm not taking anything away from Indiana, but what I'm saying is that he's even said it. I'm a pain in the ass. I'm a boring guy, and I expect a lot out of it. And I hope that he finally does say the cracks a smile when he hoists the trophy, if God graces him with that. But I will say this. I'm not going to say that if Miami wins this game or loses this game, they're back. The question is, they're here. And what do you do next year? Do you make the playoff, whether it goes to 16 or stays at 12? Do you finally win an ACC conference? Are you in the conversation every year? Because that's what's going to be the situation. And I think we're here to stay, win or lose, but I think we do get it done Monday.
Check this out, big game. Check this, Pete. Try to wrap your head around this one, big game. Miami wins this thing on Monday. Stay with me in this. Technically, the ACC can say that the second best team in their conference is national champion.
Yep.
Let that rattle around in your head for a minute.
Let that rattle for you a second. That would be amazing.
That's crazy.
To have the ACC champion and the second best team in the conference win the national title. That's what kind of world we live in. That is the world we're living in now, where this cannot just be the first time that happened, but that could become happen place. You could have second place teams from here on in win a national championship, man. Miami is setting a new trend.
And we all know what's real, but I'm just saying on paper, that's what it is.
That's what it is. And that is the way college football is. All you have to do now is just get into the playoff. If you get in, you have a shot. It's that simple.
And I'm going to tell you this, guys, if there is any legs to what Heather Dinich reported the other night, that the Big Ten did make that offer to the SEC, that if we'll go 16, if you promise to go 24 and 28 in the year 28 or something like that, or 2029, I mean, at that point, it's like, okay, what the fuck? I think that if you can get, I think you could get 12 solid teams if you just get rid of this group of 5 bullshit. And realistically, because if you do go to 16, then there is no buys. But what you're doing is that you reward the top 8 with home games or whatever like that, and then go to the bowl games after that and so forth. If you're going to do that. So that would be
a plan to do that, but they also plan, and that would be a great, if they go to 16, that's the formula I would use. Top 8 get home games, 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, and so on.
Just do it like the NCAA tournament. That's it. Only you get, it's almost like the women's basketball tournament where like the top pod, would host that thing, and so forth.
It's like the FCS. The FCS is 16 teams. And they have the top 8 home teams, and then they use neutral fields for the rest of the way. I mean, the championship game was in Nashville. That was a damn good championship game.
And I know I'm in the minority. I know I'm in the minority, but I'm not a fan of the expansion. I think they just need to get the group of 5 out.
I agree. They should have their
and let them have. And you know what? Them use the other bowl games that nobody gives a shit about. I think that would be great for those guys to you can't tell me that there's not money to send them there. Oh, we don't I mean bullshit. Come on. Those bowl games would pay for their little things and maybe elevate them. Thank you, Rocky. Thank you.
Elevate some of the lesser bowl games and let them be the FCS championship. That would be fun.
Those kids would opt in. It would be something to win, and they would be so grateful for that experience and all that travel and all the gear and merc and all that notoriety and being on TV and the exposure for those schools. It's a win-win, and it would actually give us something maybe to give a shit about that week leading up to the big CFP or whatever like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. But let's go to They Stinks real quick before we wrap it up. And guys, I can't thank you enough. This has been such a fire show. And again, there are so many different platforms that are well more established. But Rocky, thank you so much for the compliment you gave our channel, that we're very relaxed here. That it's not the ridiculousness we saw last night on Kane Sport. And I know that that's a national thing and everything of that nature, but it was getting my anxiety up watching and listening to that in the chat. And it's like, no, man, this is a platform that I want everybody to speak their piece, just talk. This is a male therapy hour right here, because there's so much bullshit we deal with outside of this 2 hours or whatever it is. And I really, and we don't need that to extend for the other 22 hours of our fucking lives, so that's just my piece. So right there. So but anyway, Jay Foster, what's up, brother? It's everything Miami player to play for a national championship in their hometown. Amen. This is what they dream about. So, but let's go to They Stink. This is one of those times where I wish that Larry would jump on or whatever, because you know who his They Stink would be. But Rocky, I'm going to let you go first this week, brother. Who was your big stink of shit this week?
I'm gonna make Larry Frank Jr. very happy. My big stink of shit is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Them sorry ass motherfuckers were at home and they blew it. They shit the bed against the Houston Texans, and I picked their asses, and they did.
Kane Sport made him have a bit.
You hear that? Hey, Larry Frank, you hear that? The Pittsburgh Steelers are my They Stink for this week.
They stink. Oh, Kerry, who do you got as They Stink this week?
I've got 2, but I'm going to start with one of the obvious ones. The Philadelphia Eagles and Nick Sirianni. This is why in life you don't hire your friends, because your friends should cost you your job too, because he sucked. Last time out of the playoff game, you call a timeout as 4th and 10. And what out of all the plays that you could call, we're going to call 4 verticals. Just go straight up in a line, and whoever's open gets the ball. And Jalen Hurts had to looked at him and go, That's the best you could come up with for 4th and 10. Our lives are on the line. Our season's on the line. That's the best you could come up with. That explains the whole year offensively for the Philadelphia Eagles in one play.
That's
Kevin Patullo, you shouldn't even be a dog catcher or a grocery bagger in a grocery store, let alone an offensive play caller. You freaking stink. The other stink I have is for my favorite you stink group is the Cincinnati Bengals.
What they do this week? What they do this week?
What do the Bengals do now?
They all stink for a different reason because they decide they're going to keep their coach because Mike Brown quoted, Zach Taylor gives us the best option to win. I said, hold on a second. Let me understand this for completely. You're the only coach in the division that kept your job. 2 resigned and 1 got fired. Don't let one of these new coaches. You have the best quarterback in the division in Joe Burrow. You got the best set of wide receivers in that division with Chase and Higgins. Mm-hmm. Don't let any of these new coaches in your division beat you for a division title, especially Cleveland. Could you imagine if Cleveland was better than them next year? That does not go well in Cincinnati. And Zach Taylor, you'd be out of a job. You stink. The Bengals stink. From not paying anybody to shovel snow out of their stadium to the decisions they make in the front office. They stink all the way around. My God. Oh, yeah, they stink. The high heaven. Whoa.
Nice.
There's a pile of manure in Texas that smells better than the Cincinnati Bengals. My God. They stink.
Nice. And LFJ would still take him over his damn Steelers.
You damn right he would.
LFJ's stinkeroo is Aaron Rodgers like a 4 a.m. Saturday night hooker's ass or whatever he said. So
that's
nasty.
That's a little personal there, man.
Yeah, it is. So
hey, look, we grew up big game 30 minutes from New Orleans. Trust me.
My God. Now that stinks like hooker ass at 4 a.m. in the morning. The French Quarter.
Yeah, there is a sense
at about 5 a.m.
Street ass. Woo.
It's one of those scents that you can actually taste it in your mouth and you can't get it out of your mouth because it burned the hair in your nostrils.
That's why I don't recommend anybody go in the summertime. There's no air and it's stale, buddy. It's stale and bad.
You forget that.
Nasty. All right. So I had 2 stinkeroos as well this week. I went off on them on Stallion Speaks the other night, and I have to just do it one more time on this show, and I'll be a little bit more nicer about it. Oregon.
Oh, no, we're after dark.
Oh, my God. What Friday night was just abysmal. You went to the Orange Bowl and put up another touchdown on Texas Tech like that was really going to scare Indiana. I know you had some injuries, but you guys said that you thought that now that Lanning was your coach, that you were going to get the better recruits that Mario wasn't getting for you up there. Well, let me just tell you this. Mario Cristobal was probably the best thing that could have happened to you guys, and you really ridiculed him for going home to be with his mother that was sick and passing away, and yet that guy still had a practice because he even said his mom would have wanted him to have the practice even if she passed.
No.
I mean, and you're going to actually go there and think that you're Miami. You've tried to be Miami. You tried to make Autzen Stadium into like another horseshoe in Little Havana, but it's up there in Eugene where there's nothing to do but, screw your cousin and hunt ducks. The other thing too, on top of that, is that you actually had Joey Harrington and that 2001 group say that they wanted some of Ed Reed and to actually play you guys the following week. Newsflash, they would have beat your ass worse than what they did to Nebraska in that damn Rose.
They wouldn't have wanted that game.
They don't want that game.
No, they wouldn't have wanted none of us. I mean, Harrington would have been absolutely just smothered by Jerome McDougal and Vince Wilfork and crew. But that being said, every time you get to the damn big game, if everybody used to criticize Ohio State for losing those big games to Florida and LSU, I think Pat Forty wrote an article years ago, don't let Ohio State in any big game because they always choke if it's not for a flag to save them. Well, for you, Oregon, for you, they don't need to let you anywhere near any big games because it's basically an automatic win for the other team. Oregon Ducks will never be Miami. You fucking stink. Go ahead, Ad, because you can let me do my thing. Go ahead. So, yeah.
And go ahead, Mr. Phil Knight. Go ahead, keep adding to that budget, man. Keep packing on those millions because it don't change a thing over there in Eugene. Keep running those millions up, buddy. Keep that cash register running because it ain't changed yet. Sorry, Scott.
I mean, at least the Beavers have a cool name in the Beavers, and they've actually won a College World Series in a sport or whatever like that.
You've actually won something.
Oregon. Yeah, and that's right. They are the bridesmaid that got fucked by the best man and got left there behind there. They stink. So yeah. And just like Larry Frank said, fuck that duck too. He took that motorcycle right in that damn Pacific Ocean. Vroom, 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 little bastard. And last but not least, the biggest stinker that actually outdid them. Hold on 1 second. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Wait till you see this because I'm going to give it to him one more time and I'm going to keep giving it to him because of this son of a bitch right here. This motherfucker right here is actually now on the Miami bandwagon and is now we're the torchbearer for the ACC, everybody. This Notre Dame guy that has his kids going there to Notre Dame, you know, basically didn't do nothing to tell Duke football to go kick rocks and let Miami and Virginia settle it on the field. And the reason we had another group of 5 piece of shit team in the playoff. And this guy is touting a bowl game record of 8-4 with 3 of those wins being by Miami. And all of a sudden, Miami represents the ACC brand of football or whatever like that. And had the referee crew that fucked them in the SMU game actually be our representative as a conference to call that boring Orange Bowl game that was the only thing that would let you sleep after partying all night long and getting drunk the night before. I mean, this bastard right here, you know what time it is right now, guys? It's 12:17 Eastern Standard Time. By 12:18, he should not be the ACC commissioner. He is the worst of the worst, and he gets paid an abysmal amount of money that should be his whole salary should be taken from him and distributed amongst the other teams in the conference in all sports to pay for NIL because of the disservice that he did to this conference, for the disservice that he did to the University of Miami, and for the disservice that he did to the average college football fan to subject us to watch JMU and that other team get in there when only one of them, if not any of them, shouldn't have been in. Thank you. You fucking stink, Dr. James J. Phillips, and it's an insult that you're the ACC commissioner, and I'm going to bring it up whether we win or lose on Monday and every week until you are going to be gone. I'm going to be like that guy, that commentator, that I will actually drink piss on air until, like a bad beer, what I'm talking about, not actual piss, but I'm talking beer on air. I'll drink the beast. I'll drink Milwaukee's best. I'll drink the beast like I'm a freaking frat boy, okay? And I will toast that. I will toast that. Natty Light or Milwaukee's best. The night that this son of a bitch is no longer the fucking ACC commissioner, because that's actually a hope for college football. You are the worst of the worst. You're the stink on Bourbon Street in the summer they just described.
I'll get LFJ to send you some voodoo juice. Trust me.
Hey.
LFJ
piss on ice, pour up.
He's got blackmail footage on people somewhere. That's how he's got
and while I'm at it real quick, and fuck anybody that was in charge of the ACC football as well. All those dumb bastards. That referee guy that calls the most holds and he trains these officials. And fuck that guy that also looks like Ronald Reagan or whatever like that. That actually got these shitty bow tie-ins. Fuck him,
the most awkward moment of Monday night. Miami wins. and you got Mario Cristobal, Joe Echeverria, Dan Radikovich standing next to that guy on the podium.
Yeah, because he'll be on the podium.
I mean, think about that for a minute.
His ass will be on the podium.
I mean, that is insane.
You know what should be done to him?
He's liable to get eggs, tomatoes thrown at him by the Miami fans.
You know what should be done? You know what should be done with that sorry son of a bitch that was just behind me, and I don't want him on my fucking screen a second longer. That sorry son of a bitch should have the same look on his face and the same thing done to him that was done to Dan Lanning the other night, where he got kicked from the balls from the back or whatever, because he had that look in his face like, ooh, that's what should be done to him, and then be stunned off the fucking stage. Mario should get him in a Kamara lock and break his arm and throw him off the stage. Fuck Dr. Jim Phillips. So he's an asshole. So yeah, but that's what I got. So
guess where your boy is at tonight?
Probably at the Duke game, watching Cal. Probably is he probably at the Duke game?
Stanford, watching North Carolina and Stanford. He's out at Stanford tonight.
That don't surprise me.
I saw some interesting breaking news. John Harbaugh is about to become the head coach of the New York Giants.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
We knew that was coming.
A signed, sealed deal.
Yep.
Well,
I saw that.
I had
Jackson Dart
got him in the building. He weren't going to let him out.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, they'll get Cam Scattaboo and get some guys and.
Yep. And they've got draft picks.
Rebuild that defense.
Got draft picks. And
Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's a player. I mean, Jackson Dart. Yeah.
He needs a right tackle. And he needs a good tight end.
Yep.
That's what he needs.
For sure.
But yeah, that fool's at Stanford tonight, watching North Carolina and Stanford shaking hands with both coaches, doing his little PR, kissing ass and everything like that.
Yeah, because that's the sport he really gives a shit about is basketball. He never gave a fuck about football. Yeah, and he's probably got his Notre Dame thong on while he's on. While he's out there too, and so forth like that.
That's a sickening image. I don't need that image.
He even looks like he wears a G-string. A grown man, that ass.
But I guarantee you, if Miami wins, he'll be on that podium Monday night, all happy and smiles and everything like that, knowing that Miami fans hate us. And you don't know what will happen? Here's what will happen. If there are some wise guys down in Miami, they get him on the sidelines, kick his ass a couple of times, and he shows up with bandages and shit all over his face. What happened to you?
Yeah.
You know what? Really... I like that line from Caddyshack.
There's got to be wise guys down in Miami that'll do that.
Oh, yeah. And I'd really have second if I was him from getting on that podium and letting people know. I don't know. I mean, I know it's his conference, but man, how wild.
As Lou Holtz is a screensaver.
And, Lou Holtz sounds like a duck, so, it's like the Oregon and him are like all together. It's a hodgepodge of a hot tub of bullshit.
If he walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a goddamn duck.
How about big game and Stallion? How about Malachi Tony, who's 18 years old, playing in a national title game when he should be a senior in high school? Think about it.
He should be at the gym. I mean, think about this, Rocky. He could be at the gym being crowned homecoming king at the basketball game. Like if he had stayed in high school, he'll be the king of Miami if he gets that national title, man. Honestly.
Unbelievable, man.
I think he will make one big play that will stand out in this game.
Could be a punt return. Could be. He's been needing to break one all year, and he hasn't done it. This would be the game
I'm telling you. Punt return, kickoff return, something like that. Malachi Tony's name could be written all over that board. That would be like a Desmond Howard moment in the Super Bowl. That would be a big moment in the national championship game. Him returning the kick and just showing off that potential. Because, 18 years old. That's just scary how good that kid's going to be. When he really understands the game,
it's huge.
He's going to be so good.
No, yeah.
I agree. No, I agree.
All right.
No, I agree.
That kid's got talent out the wazoo.
Well, guys, it was a great show as always. Rocky, Kerry, if you can just stay with me 1 minute after we go off air, and then so we can talk off camera real quick. But guys, parting shots before we end this one, and thank you to everybody that contributed to the chat. Rocky, even the Indiana fan, Larry, as always, Jay. Anthony, I love you guys and the support that you show. And like I said, I hope you give as much love to the guys that shows are about to debut here in the next week or so. And 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 Rocky, thank you again for coming on and taking the time out of your busy schedule, brother. I always love your insight, and that's part of the thing that I'm enjoying more than anything is I can always look back at these episodes as they get archived, and I even like to watch our old shows and just be like, look how spot on we were. I would give us 85% out of 100 of what we get right most of the time. And then when we're wrong, we call it that we were wrong.
Right.
And I'll be the first to admit if I'm wrong. I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong, honestly, every time. So, yep, but I know I'm right more times than not, and I don't ever put things that my ass can't cash. If I'm not going to throw it out there, so simple as that. So, but final parting words before we get out of here, guys. So,
yeah, I look forward to a great national championship game. Like I said, I think Miami's going to win. Looking past that, I mean, just a shout out to, I'm a Miami fan. A shout out to Jai Lucas, who right now is sitting 4-0 in conference with a big game coming up on Saturday against Clemson. Getting it done in year one. Shelton Henderson looks the part, and not the same as the Larinaga team jacking up threes all over the place, but a rugged team, a team that is starting to learn how to play together a little more, young. And going to be interesting to see if he can make a little noise in the ACC as this goes along.
Yeah. And Kerry, before I let you finish us out, all I'm going to say very quickly is for Miami fans, with Stallion Speaks, I am a big Miami Hurricanes basketball fan. I've had to suffer these last couple of years since our beautiful run to the Final Four. I've always said in Jai Lucas I trust or what have you. So definitely showing interest in them and also showing interest in J.D. Arteaga, who I've been the hardest critic of. If people think I'm rough on Mario, you haven't even heard some of the things I've said about Arteaga. But he showed me something last year with those guys and their preseason 21. All I'm going to say is it's great to be a Miami Hurricane fan right now because it was not looking good for those big sports.
I've read 2 previews, Stallion, on Arteaga. Sorry, big game. I've read 2 previews today on Arteaga and the squad coming up in 2026. Look out. Look out. They got
I just think it's right now great to be a college fan. You got college football going. You got the NFL with the final 8 getting down to the Final 4 and then the Super Bowl. And then you got college basketball, which is conference schedules really getting going. You're starting to see teams separate themselves in all conferences. This is going to be a fun college basketball season. I'm already checking out the bracketology boards that Joe Lenardi and some of them have, and I'm seeing some familiar names, and I'm seeing a lot of new names, which I like. I see Miami's name out there a lot on the boards, not as the last 4 team. At first, they were one of the final 4 to get in, but now I'm seeing them progress past that as a regular being a pick.
Firmly in at 8 seed or 9 seed.
8 or 9 seed,
a dangerous 8 or 9.
That would be crazy if Lucas could do that in year one. That would be amazing.
Oh, and I predicted it. I said we would make the tournament.
What I'm seeing in a lot of, not just him, but a lot of the year one coaches so far, they are really outperforming themselves. You're seeing some programs resurfacing themselves back. The job that Hubert Davis and that young North Carolina team, that they're building themselves back up. Arizona, Michigan. This is going to be a fun college basketball season.
Iowa State. I mean, I know that they lost to Kansas yesterday, but Iowa State's been a story this year.
Look out for them. Kansas drilled them last night.
Now Peterson's healthy, and now you're going to get to see what Kansas was all about with Peterson and why he's going to be the number 1 pick. I will also just leave this out here. Guys, we're living in a world now where Indiana football is playing for the national title, and Nebraska's undefeated in basketball.
Exactly, in basketball. And so is Vanderbilt.
Yeah. They lost tonight. They lost to Texas tonight. But you're right. Vanderbilt was undefeated in both men's and women's basketball, and their football team just had a double-digit win season. I mean, think about that's the world we're in right now. So go figure. So
crazy.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Stallion Speaks Sunday night. Get subscribed to this channel. Punch that like and subscribe button, share our cause, baby, because that cause don't stop when the clock hits 0, but it's about to hit 0 now. We out. Throw that W up, baby. We all winners here. Just remember that. That's what you got to believe in yourself.
Right.
That's what it's all about. So anyway, last comment. Larry's going to have the floor. That's another coach that better do something. His Tar Heels. Hubert Davis, watch your ass. Yep. He's going to have an opportunity. He's going to have an opportunity against Duke in a couple weeks.
He's hot. Don't make any mistake.
Don't make any mistakes because this seat is pretty hot.
Yeah,
but they're off to a good start.
he could right the ship by beating Duke in 2 weeks in Chapel Hill. Simple as that.
Yep.
So,
got him in 2 weeks. That's going to be that's always an event when Duke and Carolina play. That's always an event.
Throw the records up. Always watch it. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, love you all. Go Canes, and we out for right now.
See ya.